secure the world's supply. Petroleum was their goal, so they assembled their armies and their wars destroyed life. They hid the truth from the people, kept it out of their sights. And millions of people were betrayed by these lies, convinced to kill each other and watch each other die. Entire cultures were destroyed before our very eyes. We just sat around and watched the fire falling from the sky. But all the time we knew that it could happen to us. We were living in fear and we were on the same bus. By invading other people we created more enemies, but they believed that they were doing it to make themselves free. This is the world that I grew up in, so you understand my brain when it begins to spin. Searching for solutions, a better way to be, and I think much clearer when I begin to breathe. So I breathe in the air. Yeah, take a deep breath. It's everywhere. Heal my spirit, heal my body, heal my soul. I know who I am, consciousness spinning through sacred air. The healers, whatever your call is, actualize and realize we come here to balance these violent times. Warriors of peace, ambassadors of love, always staying centered when push comes to shove. Third eye wide open and dancing to music, accepting the power, knowing how to use it. Coming together, we circle the globe, seeing the oneness, our chakras are glowing. Our vibrations where we want it to be, keep it high, you know how it feels to be free. All you gotta do to understand these ways is breathe real deep and enjoy each day. Work selflessly with others and we're lost alive together. Tomorrow is now and there's beautiful weather, so breathe. Breathe in the air. Yeah, take a deep breath. It's everywhere. Heal my spirit, heal my body, heal my soul. Oh, I know who I am, consciousness spinning through sacred air. Take a deep breath. It's everywhere. Heal my spirit, heal my body, heal my soul. I know who I am, consciousness spinning through fire, gonna burn out them souls. Lightning and thunder, brimstone and fire, gonna burn out them souls. Whoa, the earth is hot like a melting. Didn't you know? The earth is hot like a melting pot. Say mama earth is ever willing, but she tired and she fed up on the killing. Mama earth for us to full joy, but Babylon still a wreck and destroy. Me have to run in at the bush and pick a jelly choppy give me. Say go run for the war and get some guava near the gully. Say give me country living, come me happy leave the city. Say look on mother nature, Lord of God, oh she pretty fruits arrive and pretty flowers are bloom. Say look on the mountain, no was there no mama moon. Say dog in at the valley, water drip a tablespoon. Blessing from the day right to after. Say mama earth is ever willing, but she tired and she fed up on the killing. Say mama earth for us to full joy, but Babylon still a wreck and destroy. Say mama earth is ever willing, but she tired and she fed up on the killing. Say mama earth for us to full joy, but Babylon still a wreck and destroy. After me sit down underneath the banana tree, a nice little vibes appear unto me. Say me be going at the garrison like a military. I collect every gun as Jaja picking it to save humanity and my community, and give them some seed to plant up the city. From agriculture get the less crime and poverty. Say oh me know that check out from a country. Lightning and thunder, brimstone and fire, gonna burn out them soul. Lightning and thunder, brimstone and fire, gonna burn out them soul. Show me say plant up the land cause I see a great property. Fertile silent now go put you in a jeopardy. Strictly organic so we find sweet melody. Put you in a trance like a musical rhapsody on the earth. Had the fullness within, but instead them committing the ultimate sin. Say man I take life and it face in my brain, but until we change the Babylon I go in. Say mother earth is ever willing, but she tired and she fed up on the killing. Say mother earth for us to full joy, but Babylon still a wreck and destroy. Say mother earth is ever willing, but she tired and she fed up on the killing. Say mother earth for us to full joy, but Babylon still a wreck.
You're invited to participate in a true multimedia experience coming to a home near you. LCM TV is bringing Lake County into the new millennium with news, live broadcast, information, music, talk shows, and local programming, all streaming in high definition online and soon to be on your Roku box. Join us at lcm-tv.com or be a part of our studio audience. You can also watch the shows at lakecomagazine.com as we provide programming to inform, enlighten, and maybe even enrage you. On Lake County Magazine Talk Show with Terry and Pete the Tax Guy, Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Like racing? Try the Checkered Flag Show, hosted by Ace Naylor on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. All ages and divisions in regional and national fields. Joni Lane brings a positive light to you every Monday at 3 p.m. Pasha Space brings an international flair as they discuss ecological, health, and social issues in Haiti with people around the world. End up your week with positive, conscious sounds on Saturday at 9 a.m. with Sister T on the Bridge. This show is also simulcast on KMEC 105.1 FM in Ukiah. Our latest show, LCM TV News, is brought to you live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, and rebroadcast at 6:30 p.m. and noon daily, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, featuring national, regional, and local news, weather, and sports. We have it all here for you on your local TV station, LCM TV. Join us online and soon on Roku, giving you access to all the best Lake County has to offer. We are LCMTV.com, your multimedia connection. Tune in for the fun It's live TV at its best. You're invited to participate in a true
Now you are.
Now I am. Now I can.
Hello, you're
Okay,
supposed to tell
folks.
me these things.
We're back again.
Sorry, guys, rough start today. I just realized I don't have my glasses. They're here somewhere, but they've disappeared.
And I need more coffee.
And I'm panicking without them because I can't see. And so welcome to Lake County Magazine. I'm sorry that you're going to have to start all over again.
Well, you can take the lead. Anyway, we have a real exciting
Well, I'll be
show
happy
today.
to do that. I'm Terry Larson, and it's my husband, Pete the Tax Guy.
That's me. And it's still tax season, folks. I don't care if April 15th is over or not.
Thank you. So, here we are. We are going to be having a great show today. We have a couple of guests at 9:30. Bill Dodd will be calling in from Sacramento, and he's going to be giving us an update on the activities that he's been doing relating to Lake County,
Yep.
which have been quite significant. And then at 10:30 or thereabouts, we'll have Jim and Gail Brown Eagle from Tribal Voices on KPFC. And they have graciously agreed to come in today, so I'm looking forward to talking with them as well.
Are we the enemy?
Why? Oh, because of KPFC? No, actually, not for them. Because,
No, we're
you know,
not.
the cool thing about most of the programmers at KPFZ is they don't agree with the board's actions. So, you know, they're actually all pretty much, we're all on the same side,
we don't
let's
have
face it.
Discuss that anymore.
No,
That was an old
that was
subject.
kind of your thing.
I
I
know.
said
I'm
nothing
just-
about it.
Well, got to bring some excitement and devil's advocate attitude to the show, you know.
Is that what you do it for the effect?
Absolutely, yes.
Nice.
Otherwise, we could be considered boring.
Aren't we already?
20 years of marriage. I'm not bored, are you?
Oh, no. I meant the audience.
Oh, well.
I'm never bored around you. Are you kidding? No.
yeah.
I would like to know where my glasses are. I may have to run
You want to
off.
use mine?
No, I'm okay for now, but my eyes are going
I
to start
can-
hurting as long as I
That's
go
it.
without.
You can use
You
mine.
can enlarge that, too.
I know. I can see it, actually.
Anyway, we're excited. Today's a wonderful day. Look at the weather out there. It's going to be in the 80s again. We've had 80s like for 3 or 4 days in a row, right? Maybe a week now?
Yep. Actually, it was absolutely gorgeous this weekend.
Exactly.
Made my
It's
baseball a much better day.
been awesome.
Yes.
So we're very grateful for that and grateful to be living in a place like Lake County where every drive is another beautiful view.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes. Speaking of which, I don't want to get into the subject now, but I do
Yes.
want, as we get in between guests, I want to talk about your Facebook friend in help me, Ethiopia.
Yes.
And I don't want to go into it now, but
No.
I want people to realize how good we really have it here.
Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
talk about that
That's
when
a
we
good
have a few
idea,
more
yeah,
minutes.
because it's been a struggle for them.
Absolutely, yes.
And it's been really good for me to understand their struggle and be a part of helping them come up with solutions. But at this point, I don't know what more I could do from this end.
No, there's nothing we
It's up
can
to God
do.
now. That's what I
Unless
told
we-
him. Just keep praying. And, you know, well, we'll talk about it later. But, yeah.
Unless we get SEALs
It's a
Team
serious
4 in
thing.
there, but that's not going to happen. So
No.
So-
You know that. Nobody cares what goes on in Ethiopia. 'Cause they have nothing that the U.S. needs.
no oil, no precious stones, no uranium,
really.
no nothing, do
Not
they?
really.
Just
No.
human
Very
beings.
poor country.
Yeah,
With very few opportunities for people.
that's very true.
Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, once in between guests or the end, we'll get into a little bit more
Sounds
conversation. on
good.
that. Okay,
Yes.
so here we
what
are.
else is new?
What else is new?
What else? And you raised your chair again.
Okay, hang on,
Look,
folks.
your head's
hang
even
on,
being
folks.
cut off because we had you set for a certain height.
That better? I can't go any
Okay,
lower.
that's fine. It's almost
Ah,
the same
geez,
as
folks.
me.
And I'm not
But
that tall.
You're still taller than I am on
well,
the chair.
can't. I don't like being like
I
a little.
understand, but you got to understand the shot. We don't have a cameraman, so the shot.
I
is
think
set.
I look good. Well,
do now.
as much
Your
as
head was
I can
being chopped
look good.
off.
That's right. So anyway, we had a very nice
I love
invitation
you.
Saturday afternoon to a housewarming party, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes, we did. Hello.
Yeah, I want to thank Chris and Mark and Joshua and Ron
And the whole gang.
and the gang.
Yes.
And the kitties and the puppies for having us over on Saturday. They have a wonderful spot in the Oaks.
How many puppies?
7.
They got 7 brand new born puppies that are
They're
so cute.
So if you need
Sorry.
another dog,
Anyone needs a puppy out there,
know where
please
to
call
go.
us.
they're a great mix. They're part. We think they're part. Possibly Irish setter blended with Rottweiler, blended with Pit Bull, blended with.
But these are not.
They're Heinz 57.
Yeah, but these
But
dogs
both
are
the mother
cute
and the father are absolutely beautiful dogs.
and very
wonderful,
friendly.
loving
No
dogs,
aggressiveness whatsoever.
Very
so.
much so.
Anyway, so we want to thank the guys for inviting us over.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I was somewhat out of it. Somewhat.
Yeah, you didn't do well, but that's because you stopped using the oil, right?
I missed a day or two. Yeah.
Well, Pete's been experimenting with the full extract cannabis oil, which is the tar-like oil that you get when you extract with food-grade alcohol. And he takes a tiny little bit every night before he goes to sleep. And what he's finding is he's not having seizures like he was having, even though he's on a heavy, heavy dose of 2 different medications that the doctor just keeps increasing because it's not being effective. He was continuously still having the seizures, and we were treating him by giving him a high CBD infusion made into brownies and cookies and things like that, which really worked well for him to recover. But now, since he's been taking this oil at night before he goes to bed, he's finding that he's not having the seizures. And the 1 or 2 days that he did take a break, he ended up having the seizures. Of course, it had to be at a time when we're supposed to be out having a good time.
Well, life goes on. And what it does to me, folks, and this is both good and bad, it's a double-edged sword, is that it kind of takes the edge off me, so I'm not as reactive. Is that right? Good word? Reactive?
Yes.
The only problem with that, though, that's the good news. The bad news is I don't have that same aggressiveness when I'm on the pitching mound.
You're too mellow.
I'm mellow, and I'm not. Even though I'm focusing,
that's not
I
good.
lack that. I want to kill the batter no matter what.
the animal instinct.
Yeah, so I gotta maybe
You
not.
become too kind and
I'm
loving.
too kind and loving.
See, that's what happens with cannabis, folks. It takes you away from being a monster into being someone kind and
And I am
loving.
a perfect test case on that one. Maybe I should go to Stanford for the double-blind test study.
I think we both should, because I've got 45 years of steady use. That's documented. So
That's documented, all right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's see. On
say.
Sunday, I had a baseball game. It's our second game of the year. It's a very young season still, and once again, we got
Thank
our
goodness.
butt kicked. But I know you guys may or may not like baseball. For those who do, I want you to understand the league I play in. I'm in the 55 and over division of what they call the Redwood Baseball League. It's an adult league, 28 and over. I'm in the 55 and over division, as everyone must know. The very first game of the season, we played the second best team overall in our league, and they're always the number 2 team. Their 2 pitchers came out of the Minnesota Twins organization and the Atlanta Braves organization. So we had 2 ex-professional ball players. One of them actually made the majors. And we lost 7-3. We were real close in the game, and then the last couple of innings we gave up too many runs. Then last week I played a team called the Greenwood Dragons. They're sponsored by a gentleman by the name of Alan Green, who owns a winery in Philo, and he pays for everything. Their number 1 pitcher is Jesse Bauer, who pitched for the Seattle Mariners. Their second pitcher also played in the Minnesota farm system. So first week we had 2 professional pitchers. Last week we had 2 professional pitchers facing us. And again, the Dragons lose 1 game a year maximum, so they're the number 1 team in our league. This coming week, I play a team called the Jazz. Their number 1 pitcher is Bill Spaceman Lee. Yes, he's back.
Gee, can we say the deck is stacked?
So,
against you?
here's our team.
Gosh.
Bunch of old farts. I'm the better choice of words, the number 1 pitcher. I've never had any major league or minor league experience whatsoever. And our team has some good talent, but we don't have any ex-professional ball players like these other teams. And here we are facing them. In the first 2 games, we got our butt kicked. However, against the Jazz, we have a really, really good chance of winning, especially if Bill doesn't pitch. But Bill is still Bill. He still spacey as spacey can be. And he's a very good, crafty left-handed pitcher. So if you think we're playing amateur baseball here, folks, we are in the sense of we don't get paid. But we have a tremendous amount of ex-professional ball players in our 55 and over division. And this is tough. It is. I'm sorry.
It is.
And to tell you, it's very rewarding for an old man like me, who's a pretty decent ball player but not great, that I can actually get hits off these type of pitchers. So. Okay, anyway, as my wife takes a break, she'll be back. She always does. Yeah, well, take it what it's worth. So, anyway, I'm rambling a bit, folks, but we have some really good talent in our division, and I think we have a lot of younger gentlemen from other divisions in our league, and also groundskeepers who, like varsity baseball coaches or their JV coaches, come out and maintain the field for us. And they look at us and they like, man, you guys play a really good quality of ball. And we do. The only problem is we're old, so we can't make some of the plays we used to make when we were 25. Other than that, though, it's a good division. Are you
Old
back?
and in the Way. Isn't that a local band?
No, isn't that called... Never mind. Okay, so are you back now?
I think, well, as soon as I get off my cord.
Okay. So anyway, we lost 17-3. However, when I left the game, we were only down 6-3.
Okay.
Then, unfortunately,
That's
Gino and
not good.
Gino
Tell
and
me why you
Rudy,
left the game again.
because I'm giving fair playing time to everyone else. That's why. As a manager, I have to ensure that every person on our team gets their share of playing time, no matter what, because their money is just as good as mine. Now, if it was a 1-1 game, I may not have taken myself out. I don't know. By the way, Gino and Monty, if you're tuning in, welcome. I know you asked me for our internet address. So I assume you two are tuning in. Monty is our number one catcher on the team, and that's just a great guy. Gino's our number two
You
pitcher,
got good
who's
guys on that team.
also another great guy, except he's old.
Gino?
Yeah, he's old. I think he's the oldest guy on our team.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And Monty's no spring chicken.
But he throws
retired.
good, though.
Gino, of course he does.
Not bad for an old guy.
Except, Gino, if you're listening, do me a favor. Quit thinking and just throw the ball.
There you go. He overthinks
Tell
stuff.
Monty, just let Monty do this thing, and you just throw the ball to where his glove is. That's all you got to do, dude.
You hear that?
That's all you got to do. You're smart, man. You've been through a lot in your life. You should know that. Okay.
That's right.
Enough of baseball.
Yes.
Okay,
I
next.
did get a message from James, and he said that Gail will not be able to make it. She had some dental work. so-
Ow.
And that's the second person in our lives. I want to give a shout out to Joel Moore. He just had some major dental surgery. He'll be back next week. But we did want to say best wishes, and I hope you get feeling better real soon, because I know that could be traumatic.
Is Jim coming in?
Yes.
Oh, Jim's going to come.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yep. Even though Gail's a much nicer person to talk to.
Oh, what do you mean? You don't know? You've never talked to either one of them.
Yes, I have.
Jim Brown?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And Gail.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought they're both nice to talk to.
I'm just joking.
Oh, okay.
Gail's a sweetie.
Yes, they're both very, very
Yes.
nice people. That's why I'm so excited they're coming. Well, at least he's coming now.
Okay.
So anyway,
Anyway.
we got a few more minutes before Assemblyman Dodd gives us a ding, so we'll just kind of fill the time here
All right.
until he calls.
Okay. Well, we can talk about the Board of Supervisors meeting since not a hell of a lot happened.
That's true.
They had a week off, folks, so they came back to their weekly meeting yesterday. Not a lot of stuff going on except for basic approval of certain contracts or whatever. But there was 2 or 3 items that two I'm going to just address now, and then one we can address when we have more time, depending upon when Mr. Dodd calls in. Is one, they waived the 900-hour limit for part-time employees, and this is for the Economic Development Manager, Mr. Jack Long.
And I want to know one thing he's accomplished since he came on board. How many years ago?
It's been about 1 year and 4 months. So
Yet he's got to
16 months.
put more hours in, schmoozing with the wine people.
Right. Well, and I don't know if he's on a salary or not, but either way, the board did approve him to work past the 900-hour limit for part-time employees. And I've been trying to contact him, and I might not have the correct email address, but I'm going to at least call him and ask for some data or statistics on how the economy and the growth has occurred in Lake County potentially since he took over, but I don't know if they can track it on such a short period of time. And I'm also going to invite him on our show because he did have the courtesy to allow us to interview him when he first came up to Lake County. And for those who don't know him, he came out of Sonoma and Napa, where he was closely tied to the wine industry. And when we met with him almost 13, 14 months ago, we asked him a lot of good questions, I thought. And most of the responses were he wants to bring in distillery businesses associated with the wine industry. I'm not quite sure what he meant by that, except for possibly a bottling plant or a distribution center, but I think we both know that's not going to happen in Lake County. And I was looking at what his economic development plan was, and admittedly he was only new on the job, but his marketing program was cold calling businesses in Napa and Sonoma to see if we could attract those businesses into Lake County. But that's a very narrow field because of our road system going in and out of this county. Yes, we do get semis coming through here, but usually they take 20, not 29. And that road, as we all know, can be extremely dangerous for vehicles itself. So I'm not sure how he was intending to bring those type of businesses into the county. My wife suggested maybe some type of call center where you don't need road access per se. Our cost of living here is extremely low compared to Napa and Sonoma.
Overhead would be lower.
I'm sorry?
Overhead would be lower.
Exactly. Overhead, salaries, wages, the whole thing would be lower. So I'm kind of want to know what he has actually accomplished. And I don't mean that in a negative or derogatory way.
Well, maybe
just like
we need to invite him on the show or something.
I just said that.
Yeah.
I want to invite him. So I want to know exactly what his new program is and what his results have been so far. I do know from a client and a friend that he has helped form a governmental public citizen type committee. It's kind of unofficial to help with the economic development and to look how we can increase the job market here in Lake County. So
yeah, that was
anyway,
great.
so he was approved to go past the 900 hour limit.
I did want to let everybody know
Yeah.
before we move on.
Go ahead.
The body of local attorney and longtime public defender Stephen Carter, who was reported missing on April 18th, was located yesterday at approximately 12:17 p.m. He was found in a wooded area on his family's property between Lower Lake and Hidden Valley Lake. Evidence, items, and information gathered during the course of the search and investigation indicated that he died of self-inflicted injuries. And we're very sorry to the family and our deepest condolences.
Yes.
And it just emphasizes the need for good mental health care because we know that he was struggling with a lot of things. And he had some issues previously in 2014 and prior to that, and he was supposedly getting some kind of help. And it just emphasizes Lake County has one of the highest suicide rates in the freaking nation, and it just emphasizes, how someone like this, who's been so obviously blatant about the need for help, could slip through the system like this and still end up on the deep end.
We talked about this a couple shows ago, I believe, about the state of the health here in Lake County. And one of the things that was discussed was the high suicide rate along with the health problems we have here. So it's a shame that a gentleman like this who was educated, had established himself in the community, had some problems. And those problems were unfortunately not addressed by anyone. And I don't know if that's the failure of our system here or his own ego or self-esteem that he didn't want to seek the help. We don't know that because we don't know the particular circumstances, but obviously there's a need for mental health in this county, and maybe the service we have is very good, but people don't know how to seek that type of help or services. So
It's really sad.
yeah, so it's kind of hard to move on from that particular subject. So it is.
Yeah, I
it
just
is
wanted
kind of a
to
downer.
confirm that the sheriff's office did put out a
They
news
did.
release
Okay.
just now. So,
All right.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's very sad. And people, if you need help, call me. My number is 701-6416. Give us a call. Call your neighbor. Call your friend. Call somebody you can rely on and talk to them. Nothing is worth taking your life over. Nothing.
And I actually have a client who participated in the mental health system for many, many years, and I can always consult with him, even though he's retired, to find out where you can go,
Well,
what
there
type of help
is a
you can
suicide
see.
hotline. They just put it
That's
in
true.
last year.
That's true.
And like I said, this gentleman had been getting care.
Right.
He was in the system. How did he get out of the system and end up this way? It's just very sad.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that's one subject it's hard for me to discuss because I've never had any real involvement in something like that. Except for me personally, because everyone knows I'm not quite all there.
You can slip out real easily, even if you're taken care of really well.
Yep,
absolutely.
It's true.
So,
Face is missing one dose of whatever you're on.
okay. Unfortunately, get past that that news item. During the Board of Supervisors meeting also yesterday, Sheriff Brian Martin was present, and he was seeking funds, which I believe were already appropriated in his budget, but still needed approval by the board, to purchase body cameras for all his deputies and that are out in the field. That way, if you're hang
there's
on.
our caller.
That might be a caller. We can start this over again.
Yeah, we'll talk about the rest of this stuff later. Hello, Lake County Magazine.
Bill Dodd here.
We
How
got
you
him.
doing? Let me get you turned up. Hold on.
Good morning.
Hold on. I'm not sure which mic you are. Give me a minute here. That one's definitely not it. Okay, say good morning again.
Good morning.
Gotcha.
Good. How are you, sir?
You know, I am fantastic. It's a great day. We've got a lot of bills in committee today that I'm going to be presenting, and things are going well.
Cool.
Excellent. So glad to hear that. So we got a lot of stuff on our plate, and I know you're a busy man, so we don't want to keep you too long. But you know how it goes when we start talking, so be prepared.
Okay.
Okay. So why don't you start off, first of all, by telling me about some of the bills that you've sponsored that particularly focus on Lake County issues, and some of the things that you'd like our watchers and viewers to know about what you're up to right now after 90 days in office.
Well, first of all, thanks for the opportunity to be able to use you as a medium to talk to people in Lake County. As
Absolutely.
you know, during the campaign and since taking office, that Lake County is a priority for me. I saw that citizens of Lake County narrowly defeat a tax measure to rehabilitate the lake. I've always felt that, frankly, that it's probably a little bit unfair with the small population in Lake County for the citizens to have to pay for that
Thank
all
you.
themselves.
Thank you.
Thank you so
And
much for that.
Given that it is the largest natural lake in the state of California, and I proposed Assembly Bill number 367, which is the Lake County Environmental Protection and Rehabilitation Act, and essentially, this just is a recognition, in my view, of the state of California that it is an amazing state resource that's been neglected by the state of California. It would appropriate $2.4 million, not only to improve water quality, but to work and try to restore the wetlands, and then also protect against the invasive species that we know are that are there, and without careful stewardship, could very well become a major problem. And I think that, like I stated to the people at the Middletown area town hall meeting a couple weeks ago, that this is just a start, and we need to build on this. And that I think that the lake, certainly is a critical component of the local economy and the health of the Lake County budget, and frankly, everybody's well-being, I think, depends a lot on the lake, and that's why this is become an issue that I think is important for the state to get involved in.
Yeah. I heard through
We're
the
so glad.
grapevine that there's a poison pill, though, that's written into this bill. Is that true?
Which is what?
I don't know. I just heard through the grapevine that the bill that you put together had some additional language that was put in that you didn't do. That could.
No, it's really. I'm very proud of the fact that our bill, as presented to the committee, was passed. The one part, the only thing that changed from the bill, frankly, is the source of the money and where it would come from. We were very specific that it would come from a certain fish and game, fish and wildlife fund, and the director of Fish and Game, who I had a meeting with, suggested that we make that a little bit more general, and that would give them more options from which to work with. So no, there's no poison pill in this, and all the components of the bill and the strategy and how to do it are as they were originally drafted.
Okay, sounds good. If the bill is passes all through the different areas, how is this money going to be allocated, and is there a direct purpose or direct use that the funds have to be used for?
Well, absolutely. I mean, look, this is state money, and certainly they're going to, they're absolutely going to, make sure that these funds are well spent. We kind of took the template of the initiative itself in terms of the components that the locals would have spent their money. As you know, because I've spoken with both of you a number of times, I'm quite a proponent of local control, and I think if it was worthy, if the program was worthy to put on a ballot, and it did get over 60% of the people's vote, in Lake County, that program was good enough for me. And frankly, the $2.4 million, that mirrors what would have been raised by the locals if that initiative had passed.
Well, thank you so much for protecting us citizens. I feel sometimes that the local governments here use the citizens as an easy way out, to raise money, to get what they need, and they don't always think these things through. And I think if any of those supervisors had bothered to really spend the effort that they should have, they could have found other ways to raise this money, and it sure shows in the way that you're going forward. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And, I think there's some hope that, if we do a good job over time, and that, look, this is something that Rome wasn't built overnight, and this lake has been neglected by the state, as I said, earlier, all these years, and it's going to take some time, and it might be something that down the line there's a partnership with the locals, but for right now, that's not complicit in this. It's just
Sure.
I just want to work hard and try to get this across the finish line.
That's great.
I might add that my partner on this, or one of the co-sponsors, Senator McGuire, is solidly behind this and will work hand in hand with me in the Senate to get this across the finish line.
Excellent.
But there still is work to do. I want to point that out as well. Lots of work.
Okay. How did you feel your testimony went last week in front of the committee?
I thought it went well. I did have an opportunity to talk to the appropriations chair after the fact, and look, any time now that you're appropriating money in this environment, still, even though we have somewhat of a surplus, we all know that Prop 30 is in question, and that's the money that's coming in on the temporary tax. So anytime you have a new appropriation, it kind of raises some eyebrows. But I believe in the area of the environment and in this specific area for Lake County that it's worthy, and I really believe that this is going to get the serious consideration that it deserves.
Well, that's fantastic because it's a long time coming, and what makes the residents of Lake County kind of be, ambivalent towards money going into the lake is that, with Yolo County taking everything over a certain point on the Rumsey scale, they pretty much feel like they don't own this lake and that they should not be held responsible for keeping it up to where it's been when it's been polluted by so many big industries and other things that have happened to the lake that it's totally out of the control of the residents here.
And that's something where, I've been involved in a lot of regional enterprises like the Metropolitan Transportation Commission and, mostly down in the Bay Area. But, I think it's maybe it's time to, to have a region-wide discussion on the partners in this watershed.
Absolutely.
And Lake County, Yolo County for sure. And then beyond, because obviously once it goes through Yolo County, it gets to the Delta, and stream flows are very, very important to the overall ecosystem that we have, and I think there's lots of partners,
Sure.
this.
Well, I've always been concerned about our runoff through Cache Creek into Yolo for the rice fields with the issues from the Sulfur Bank mine and the mercury in our sediment, what are we feeding them in the way of water that's going into our food system? That's a tough situation to look at, and I know that they've said they have actually found higher mercury levels in that water. So I know that mercury's heavy and it runs in the sediment, but when we have big heavy rains, when that sediment's being washed down, that's going into those rice fields and then carried down into the rest of the delta.
Well, that's good reason to restore these marshes and restore,
Right.
Habitat. So and erosion control measures that are effective.
Exactly. That's why we're so happy this is going to happen. And there's been some other activity you've been up to as well, hasn't there?
Yeah, I've got another bill, AB 401, would require the development of California's first statewide program for low-income water rate assistance. And this really all started after me being in Lake County and hearing the horror stories about Lucerne and in other areas where the water rates are just significantly higher than any most people could possibly handle. It's too high a percentage of their disposable income, and I think that this bill's got some challenges, and it's not going to be easy, but I did make it through committee on this one, and without really any significant changes, and it's just going to be a matter of once again going over to the Senate. I'll have a partner over there working with me, but I think it's really important that we have this in power. If you've got PG&E or you've got independent power companies, they have found a way to have lifeline programs for low-income people.
Exactly.
I think particularly for these public or private systems for sure, and we're going to find a way even for public systems to try to get the help that low-income ratepayers deserve.
Excellent. Well, that's another important issue for sure, and I feel every day for the people in Lucerne who have to face those bills that in some cases are higher than their electric bills.
Well, that's right.
It's just crazy.
And they have to make decisions every single month on how they're going to live their lives because of their water rates. That's not the way it's supposed to be.
Exactly. And when you think of the fact that they're getting the water, I believe, out of the lake, it's our water to begin with. So they really need to make some changes.
So, the other thing, I've got a number of other bills. I've got a gender pay equity bill that's, working its way. I had a hearing yesterday in front of the, what committee was that? Well, anyway, Assembly Labor and Employment Committee. And actually, that's Senate Bill 1354. And I have a hearing today with the Assembly Labor and Employment Committee. And that one is really working, I think, very effectively. And essentially, what this does is this mandates in the state of California on anybody that they do business with that has 100 employees or more that they have a gender pay equity policy.
Oh, that's great.
And then that they actually submit data back that demonstrates they follow that policy. And it's really telling when 70 women that are doing the exact same job as men, 77 cents on the dollar for that every dollar that a man earns.
Right.
And when you think about African American women only earning 64% of what a white non-Hispanic male worker earns, and then a Latina makes 56% of what her male counterpart, non-Hispanic male work earns.
Wow, that's just crazy.
So this is 2015, and I think that the state ought to be demonstrating that it is serious about its equality in the workplace and what we pay people.
For real, it's really shameful. I mean, I started working in the early 70s in jobs, and I was always drawn to male-oriented jobs. I worked in marine electronics. I studied electronics. I was a computer tech. And all these jobs, every single one of them, I never got paid the same as the guy that would come to get the job against me. And it's been so frustrating. And God even knows, the glass ceiling, forget about that. That's why I became a self-employed person, because I got tired of being treated like a second-class citizen. But it made me an entrepreneur, so I can't complain too much.
Well, I think it's time that we, look, we talk the talk, and this actually, starts a series of policies in the state where we're walking the walk.
Excellent.
Well, I can tell you after our prior conversations during the primaries and during the election that it's nice to see I don't mean to insult you by calling you a politician, but actually keeping your word and following through on what your platform was, at least here locally in Lake County, by actually helping and trying to help Lake County. That's more than I can say for a lot of people I've met and talked to in the same arena.
Well, thank you. It's something that made a big impression on me. As you know, I've kind of forgotten the exact number, but I'll bet I made 30 trips up to Lake County anyway during that time. And you can't come up there and talk to the number of people that I, spoke with and learning about all the issues that are germane to Lake County and not be moved by the work that needs to be done. And there's a lot of it. And again, it's fun. You don't do these things on your own here. You've got to develop relationships and friends, not only in the Assembly, but also in the Senate to get your bills through. And I couldn't have a better partner up there than Senator Mike McGuire.
Oh, my gosh. You guys are such a team.
Well, I'm working with him. I'm co-authoring a bill to invest in career technical education. We talked about that before, and the last time we were interviewed, how not everybody's going to go to college.
Right. Well, I was at tech school.
It's not the thing for everybody, and particularly in small rural communities where there's other trade opportunities that are available, to have the career technical education and invest in that, I think is a smart bet.
Absolutely.
And do you, part of this program, do you believe that there should be some like apprenticeship programs or interns so the local communities can interact with the students, and so when they graduate they actually have jobs waiting for them?
Oh, absolutely. And they're good middle-class paying jobs, and I think that's what's important, that you're not doing this, and look, nobody's doing this to, want to pay somebody minimum wage, $8-9 bucks an hour. That's not going to do it. And those jobs like welding, plumbing, electrical, those trade type of things that you can get a baseline education, in your high school system, prepares these young people for, opportunities that in the community, as opposed to right now. Without that, there are companies right now probably in Lake County that are looking outside Lake County because people don't have the skills that are there.
Right, exactly. Well, I could tell you from personal experience, my 2 years in basic electronics and tech school set the stage for me to go into technology as one of the first females, and I learned so much that I was able to set up our studio and get the equipment and learn how to use it, and still using it today, 50 years, 40 years later.
Hey, don't date yourself. Don't date yourself.
It's not that long. But, here I am 30 years later or whatever, and I'm still using the same knowledge that I got in my 2 years of tech school.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So it's absolutely important, and we support you 100% on that one.
Yeah. I know it's been early in your new career as assemblyman, but if you had an opportunity yet to talk to our supervisors or even our economic development department on what we can do to help bring in new businesses or create jobs in this area?
We are in very close contact with your local elected officials. That's one of the things, as a former county supervisor myself for 14 years, I think is really, really, really important. As I said now for the third time, local control is very important to me. And to get, we have not gotten in the weeds on the issue as of yet in terms of really dialing in what the range of opportunities are for Lake County, but that's something that I would expect to happen. I know that the County of Napa and the County of Lake are working together on our Workforce Investment Board and are working on some initiatives, and certainly I want to be available to help in that regard to see if we can get some grants that are available. I'm looking at cap and trade money. I'm looking at all the different sources of funding to see what opportunities there can be. And you know, in the end, it's my hope that we can find some entrepreneur that will really kind of take hold of a great, you know, green energy idea, and you know, one that can, you know, take a base of workers that you've already got up in that area. And there's a number of different areas, and in the waste diversion programs, in energy creation. It's just, as far as specifics, at least at this point in time, I just don't have any.
Yeah, that's fine. You've only been there 90 days. We don't expect miracles.
Yeah,
There aren't going to be any miracles coming from out of Sacramento. But,
Yeah.
hopefully what you're seeing is a lot of effort on my part, and it's something that, you know, it's really important, because I have seen the fact that, you know, over the years, and I've heard a lot that, you know, during the election, the people were always there, but, you know, once the election's over, just because of the population, you know, the candidate or the no longer candidates, office holders, don't seem to make it up there as often.
You know, during one of our last interviews, I believe, my wife mentioned a possible job creation venture up here, and that was the cellulose plant.
Yeah, when we talked about cellulosic ethanol. That's still something very
right.
close to my heart, and I think that this would be a great place, or between here and Mendo, maybe Mendo and Lake together, would have enough resources to pull something like this off and actually create our own fuel from our own forest waste and waste from the cannabis industry and all that kind of stuff. We could put into fuel very easily. So.
Yeah, and you know what? That type of program, I'm telling you, there are grants available for those type of programs, and it's just, you know, it's going to require, I think, an entrepreneur with vision. You know, and maybe there's a listener out there today who
you can't see me, but I'm putting my hand up.
Here it is, and you know, work with us to try to get, you know, some private capital and then some public capital, because there's a lot of public good that can come, you know, obviously from this.
Well, you know, I was going to approach Yokayo Biofuels up in Ukiah with the idea, but they actually went under, and I was very disappointed to see that in Mendocino County they couldn't support a biofuels industry up there. And, you know, most people up there are pretty much enlightened, and it was just kind of disappointing to see it go away.
You know, and that makes it tough for another entrepreneur to get in that market.
Right.
You know, that somebody's failed. So maybe there's some business flaw in their model that can be improved upon, and somebody will take that on.
That would be so wonderful. And, you know, the research I've done, you can get a modular ethanol plant for about $1 million. And that's, you know, in the big realm of money, that's not that expensive. So it's affordable. So that's where that's at this point anyway. So anybody out there listening who wants to do this, give me a call. All right. So I did want to ask you about some bills that are coming up if you are done with your current events at this point.
Well, the only thing I wanted to mention that I hadn't mentioned already is Senator McGuire and I are going to open up an office in Lake County. It will be the first state office
Wow.
Ever established in Lake County, and that's part
fantastic.
of our commitment and promise to the residents of Lake County that we were going to pay attention to what's going on. At this point in time, it looks like maybe even, you know, the first couple weeks of May, we might have something established. You know, talking about Rome wasn't, you know, created overnight. This is, you know, we would have both liked to have had this done within 30 days. But the red tape up here, the Senate and the Assembly sharing, the county of Lake County sharing, I don't think they've ever had, you know, those three organizations you know, working together before. They don't quite know what to do, but we're getting through the red tape. We are going to get it done, and we'll have that up and running for sure within the first 6 months, you know, of this year. And we think that that's That's going to help us learn more about what people are thinking in Lake County and help us respond more quickly to concerns that people have in Lake County.
Definitely.
Unfortunately, there's plenty of retail office space available for you to have an office at.
Well, yeah, we're really happy with the cooperation of the county, and they're getting the old air board or commission, whatever they were called, space available for us. And
Oh, great. Where's that?
About that.
Where's that located?
That's located in Lakeport.
Oh, sweet. Okay, perfect. That's a very exciting concept, though, to know that our representatives are going to be basically within a short drive or a phone call away, that we can face-to-face with you guys. That'll be awesome.
Great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll have some event up there, maybe a town hall, while in conjunction with the opening, but we're working on that. Right now, I think sometimes you have to celebrate your victories, and I think this is a great one for the entire county.
Right. It is. It's great. So we're very fortunate to have you helping us out here, and we look forward to the future on that. Okay, so speaking of industries, my industry always has to come back to the cannabis industry, and 2016 is right on the horizon. And most likely it will be legalized. We're not going to say for sure yet because we've seen it go through a few times and not pass. But it seems to be the way of the nation at this point, and it'll be really surprising to me if it doesn't get legalized in some way in 2016. So do you have any ideas as far as what you would like to see in developing an industry of cannabis here in the Northern California region, considering we have some of the best quality in the world that is produced here?
Well, I've been focusing on other areas, but while I've been focusing on other areas, Assemblymember Wood and Senator McGuire have been focusing on some of the framework for in the medical marijuana area, which is, I think, a setup for the overall industry, and perhaps next year the Assembly doing something, or the legislature in general, doing something in anticipation of some, movement to legalize, marijuana in general in the state of California, and maybe even a preemptive measure at that from the legislature.
Oh, great.
So, but for the time being, I think that it's really, Assemblymember Wood's bill is for watershed protection. It's a statewide bill that just kind of regulates, water diversions, regulates the environmental, impacts of, different chemical uses and everything else. I think we've seen a lot of problems, environmental problems in Lake County from a lot of illegal grows that this could.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We definitely need some kind of.
His bill is more of like, Cooley's, which kind of sets up a statewide framework and helps, that for medical marijuana, Cooley's, AB 266. But these are things I think that are precursors for what's yet to come.
Well, I wanted to talk to you about AB 266 because there's been some thoughts about that being not really in the interest of the patients, the small businesses, and that AB 34 would be a better choice. And I think both of them are going to be going up for vote very soon, maybe even on the same day. So I know that the Emerald Growers Association and the Drug Policy Alliance, who hosted a symposium with Assemblyman Woods a couple of weeks ago up in Eureka that I attended, they're all supporting it being, cannabis being dealt with as an agriculture crop. And I think that's what AB 34 does, and it offers tiered fee structures and a multi-agency approach. And so I know people from Emerald Growers contacted me when they heard you were coming on and saying, well, let's get his take on these two bills and encourage him to vote for AB 34, which really thinks more about the patients, as opposed to 266, which seems to be more of a corporate-oriented and possibly, not really supporting the patients as much.
Right.
So.
Unfortunately, I have to go because I'm running out to a meeting. But let me I'll just answer this.
Please, yeah, that'd be great.
And sign off. But I think that perhaps we can talk on this one again, because one of the things that's I think the beauty of the process up here, and I don't have many people talking about the beauty of the process in Sacramento. It's a lot of sausage making. It's not real pretty, but really this committee process is designed to take public comment, from your listeners. And so I would suggest that people that are really interested in this topic send the committee, because before I will get whatever happens here in bill form. And I can assure you, and I'm not on this committee, so I can assure you that the bill that you see today is not the bill that's going to be voted on the floor. So
Sure.
I'm interested in the comments. Certainly you guys have more experience at this because the communities in which you lived in have, some people like it, some people don't, but the reality is you have experience.
Yes.
And probably more than a lot of communities. So I'm really interested in that, and perhaps before this comes up for a floor vote, we can have another conversation and
That'd be
talk
great.
more.
And it doesn't have to be on the air. You know, we
specifics.
can do it privately. That's fine. And we can meet you or whatever. It'd be great. So
I
yeah,
don't mind going to public
Okay.
on the air, but what I'd like to do is wait until it flushes out and
Sure.
the bill is going to change, and let's figure it out before I vote on that.
sounds wonderful. We really appreciate that.
When's the next time you're going to be up in our neck of the woods?
I think I'm coming up there, if I'm not mistaken, I'm coming up there twice this week. I may be up there Thursday, and I will be I'm trying to get up there on Sunday. There's a nonprofit event over in Kelseyville that I'm going to try to make.
Okay, great. So maybe we'll run into you up along the way.
All right, listen, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to your listeners.
Oh,
Hey, thank you for
too,
taking
Bill.
the time. We really appreciate it.
You know, you are one of the few politicians I have to say I really enjoy speaking with. Thank you so much for doing what you're doing. So far you hit the ground running. We look to see a lot more good stuff coming in the future.
All right, thanks so much.
All
All right, have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Okay.
So if anybody would like to weigh in on any of that conversation, please feel free to give us a call. Our phones are working. Whoops.
Well, if
Thought
you
I
hang them up
disconnected.
properly.
That phone is working. It's just I didn't cut it off. So the number to call is 701-6029. And I'm going to disconnect this so we don't get any other calls on it while we're chatting.
Oh, you don't want to answer my line?
No,
It
thank
is
you.
business, you know.
That's quite all right.
Yes.
So yeah,
Anyway.
that was really good. I mean, he is so interesting.
He is, and as I said, it's very refreshing to see a real elected politician follow through on his word or his agenda during his campaign. And he, based on what we've seen and knowledge, is that he really is trying to help Lake County and not just concentrate on Napa, which is where he represented.
No, and that's what I think a lot of people were afraid because he
Right.
was a Napa supervisor, and when he went up for election, people were saying, "Oh, well, he's going to be looking out for Napa. He's not going to be looking out for us." Well, wrong.
Well, I think what's also nice
think it's
that
great.
our Senate Representative McGuire and Mr. Dodd are
Like,
actually
they're
working together.
and
I mean,
he's
that's
working with Mr. Woods up in
Right.
the Eureka region. So it's really exciting to see
it's the way government
politicians doing government the way they're supposed to.
And as we just said, he's really keeping his word, and he's really getting involved in Lake County. And the other
Exactly.
politician, I hate to call him a politician, the other new elected official is doing the same thing. That's Jim Steele. You know, doesn't matter if you may or yes.
We need to take a break.
Oh,
I need to take a break.
I didn't realize
It
that.
doesn't matter that. I'm sorry. I
That's
didn't
all
mean
right.
to
Just
interrupt
saying
you.
that Jim has kept his word, and he's very involved in the community. Doesn't mean you may not agree with him all the time, but he is really involved. Town halls, taking care of his the people in his district, and it's just nice to see between the two brand new elected officials, they're actually doing what they said they were going to do.
Exactly.
So it's nice for a change.
Exactly.
That's a positive comment I made.
Unbelievable.
That is unbelievable.
You know, could it be government's changing and we won't have to be so critical of them?
Slowly
in the
but
future?
surely, we elect the right people, folks, and it's in your hands to elect the right people.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We'll have Jim Brown in here at 10:30, so I want to just get a little break before then. And we'll be back in a flash on Lake County Magazine with Terry Larson.
And Pete the Tax Guy.
Little Joni Mitchell for you, who's been struggling with her health, and we wish her all the best and hope she recovers quickly.
They paved paradise, put up a parking lot with a pink hotel, a boutique, and a swinging hot spot. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. They took all the trees, put them in a tree museum, and they charged the people $1.50 just to see them. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Hey, farmer, farmer, put away the DDT now. Give me spots on my apples, or leave me the birds and the bees. Please, don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Late last night, I heard the screen door slam, and a big yellow taxi took away my old man. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. I said, don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. They paved paradise, put up a parking lot.
Well, I just want you all to know that this song is about the environment. Yeah. Something that a lot of people talk about but don't do anything about it. Especially the politicians, them have some big words that them use. Global warming and all them kind of stuff there. But one thing I know is places that used to be cold is now hot, and places that used to be hot is now cold. And which part my grandfather used to fish, no fish, no dead no more. So, me know so something wrong, so we decided to do this song, eh? So just check it out. Where are the roses? The skies are all gray. The oceans are empty, where the dolphins once bathed. Sleeper awake, Mother Earth calls your name. It's not too late, it's not too late. Sleeper awake. The children are hiding from the sun harmful rays. Asphalt and concrete, where the cattle once grazed. The food chain is broken, yes, we're in some dreadful days. But it's not too late, it's not too late. Sleeper away. Oh, it's not too late, it's not too late. Sleeper away. Let's heed to her warning, so open your eyes. One heart makes the difference. It's time we realize. Sleep awake. Mother Earth calls your name. It's not too late. It's not too late. Sleep awake. Oh, it's not too late. It's not too late. Sleep awake. Yeah. It's not too late. It's not too late. Sleep awake. Oh, it's not too late. It's not too late. Sleeper awake. Oh, ooh, yes. It's time to get up now. Yeah. Sleepers awake. Yes.
You're invited to participate in a true multimedia experience coming to a home near you. LCM TV is bringing Lake County into the new millennium with news, live broadcast, information, music, talk shows, and local programming, all streaming in high definition online and soon to be on your Roku box. Join us at lcm-tv.com or be a part of our studio audience. You can also watch the shows at lakecomagazine.com as we provide programming to inform, enlighten, and maybe even enrage you. On Lake County Magazine Talk Show with Terry and Pete the Tax Guy, Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Like racing? Try the Checkered Flag Show, hosted by Ace Naylor on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. All ages and divisions in regional and national fields. Joni Lane brings a positive light to you every Monday at 3 p.m. Pasha Space brings an international flair as they discuss ecological, health, and social issues in Haiti with people around the world. End up your week with positive, conscious sounds on Saturday at 9 a.m. with Sister T on the Bridge. This show is also simulcast on KMEC 105.1 FM in Ukiah. Our latest show, LCM TV News, is brought to you live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, and rebroadcast at 6:30 p.m. and noon daily, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, featuring national, regional, and local news, weather, and sports. We have it all here for you on your local TV station, LCM TV. Join us online and soon on Roku, giving you access to all the best Lake County has to offer. We are LCMTV.com, your multimedia connection. Tune in for the fun. It's live TV at its best. You're invited to participate in a true multimedia experience coming to a home near you. LCM TV is bringing Lake County into the new millennium with news, live broadcast, information, music.
Okay, we're back.
Yeah, we are. Look at ourselves.
Welcome.
We're back.
Yeah, we're almost looking very colorful too.
Actually, the color.
Can't really see me over the computer, but
Nice.
my
You
shirt's
like that
almost the same color.
Like that color?
You know I love that
No,
color.
I'm talking to the
Oh,
audience.
okay.
All one of them.
I'm sure that she'll weigh in on it.
Who?
You're one audience member. So, anyway, we're back. And we're going to have Jim Brown Eagle from the Elam Pomo Rancheria. He'll be here on the show here from Tribal Voices on KPFC. Stop! Quit messing with me and quit laughing at me. That's not fair. I don't like it.
Oh, yes.
I don't like it
Sorry.
when you laugh at me,
I'm
Bill.
not laughing at you.
Yes, you are.
I'm laughing with
No,
you.
because I'm not laughing. So how could you be laughing with me?
Because internally, psychologically, you're laughing.
Happy Earth Day, everybody. That was a little Earth Day music for you, by the way. We started off our set with Breathe by Human, our usual, at the 9 o'clock hour, our usual opening number. Then we had Mama Earth from Sister Carol. And then on this break, we heard It's Not Too Late, Sleeper Awake from Third World. And also Big Yellow Taxi by Joni Mitchell. One of my favorite green songs. One of the songs that inspired me to really be an Earth defender and really try to teach people about taking care of the Earth.
Without dating ourselves. Hello, can I hear myself?
I've already done that.
That's true, you have.
Yeah.
I can't hear myself.
Well, you're probably just a little bit low. How's that?
That's much better, thank you.
Okay.
You know, when I was a little itsy bitsy baby.
In your mama's arms.
Yeah, that too. in later years of high school and early years of college, there was such an emphasis by our generation to save the wilderness. I remember when I was going to Long Island University, way out
Oh
on
boy,
the
but
island.
didn't we have a much more polluted earth that we had?
Well, we had
at that time.
We actually were
seriously.
cleaning it up, anywhere from the marshes and wetlands near JFK Airport, New York, to the wetlands out on Long Island.
Oh, just remember the Hudson River.
Then the Hudson River specifically was horrible,
Yep.
and our generation, meaning, was actually out there trying to do something to improve the environment, and pretty much was very successful because a lot of the lakes and rivers and water bodies were actually did improve. And then we go back to now, quote, Earth Day. And what activities really transpire on Earth Day except for some rallies?
Yeah, that's about it.
So
We were much more active back in the 70s and 80s than we were.
I think that's what my biggest disappointment in everything from society to the music to the involvement by our current generation. It doesn't seem to have the same motivation or enthusiasm. No matter what you think of rock and roll or what I call classic rock, there's a tremendous amount of meanings in the lyrics by a lot of the groups out there. In today's music, I'm prejudiced. I don't like it, but I listen to it, and there's no meaning really behind it. At least not a good purpose type meaning to it. So,
Right.
Anyway, so Earth Day is Earth Day, and we're supposed to be careful and treat the Earth properly.
No, it's a day to raise awareness. Like, there is a whole bunch of stuff happening. It was first observed in 1970 in an event organized by the late Senator Gaylord Nelson. While at the first solely celebrated in the U.S. Earth Day, it became an international event. While at first it was only celebrated in the U.S., but in 1990 it became an international event. And there is all kinds of stuff going on. www.earthday.org/now. The largest climate petition to save the world. You can sign that. We also have Earth Day Canada has good tips on how to keep your carbon footprint reduced. And you can go to YouTube and just Google Deb Doncaster or Earth Day Every Day, and she'll come up. My friend Susan Tweet, she has a haiku for Earth Day.
Oh, you're going to make me pronounce that word again today, aren't you?
Yes, because you're going to be talking about it later. So we're going to practice it. Ukiah is having a haiku competition.
Yeah, but
you can find out about that at Lako Magazine. But my friend Susan Tweet, who's a well-known author,
right,
and she lives in Colorado, and her haiku for the day, for Earth Day: frosty dawn, still tender lettuce leaf unfurls, green for Earth Day. So that's the thing about a haiku. It's only 3 lines,
right,
and it has to have a specific number of what do you call it? Syllables. Thank you, Mark. My brain.
The voice from the past.
The voice from the back.
From the back.
Okay.
So isn't it Ukiah haiku?
Yes, that's
what I'm trying to pronounce.
That is a competition,
yes,
but a haiku is just a form of poetry.
I'm just trying to,
Yes.
Never mind.
Yes.
Okay, so
just looking to see what other things are going on for Earth Day. Oh, good. Okay. Well, we're at 10:30. He'll be coming on.
I hope he's well dressed.
Have a seat and relax and enjoy the show until then, James. All right. Do you know that Earth Day is the largest civic event in the world? World? Stop making fun of me.
And you tell me how to pronounce it.
But I don't do the news. You do.
Well, yeah.
It's the largest civic event in the world, celebrated simultaneously around the world by people of all backgrounds, faiths, and nationality. Protecting the earth is in everyone's best interest.
Well, don't you think that James T. Kirk's proposal on transferring water through a pipeline from Washington, Oregon down to California, isn't that part of the Good Earth?
That is a good. You had to bring that up. That guy is. I don't know if he's all there. I think that
Sean, we're talking about
in a $30 billion pipeline he wants to build from Washington down here to bring water, or actually to Southern California.
Yeah,
I
we're actually
think.
talking about William Shatner. If you don't know who Captain J.D. Kirk is, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at 83, this is his Kickstarter program he just started.
Yep.
So raise $30 billion so he can put this pipe all the way down to California and feed poor California the water it needs.
Talking about
Don't teach people how to conserve water. Don't get the farmers to learn
Just
how
get
to
more water
conserve
in.
water. Just go get some more
Yeah.
water.
Well, you know, the cannabis growers need that water.
Well, you know what? If the cannabis growers really knew what they were doing, they would know they don't need that much water to grow their plants.
Very true. Very
Yes.
true. So I just had a thought and just totally went right past me, over my head, completely gone.
Oh, well, then why'd you even bring it
Oh,
up?
I know what it is. I know what it is.
Yes.
What do you call them? Kickoff, starter, fundraiser?
Kickstarter, GoFundMe.
Yes, we're thinking of possibly starting one so we can raise funds for Cobb Mountain Radio Station. Right?
Mm-hmm. We need 25 grand. We were hoping to raise that money through the Fire in the Barn, and we're not sure yet. It may or may not happen because the county has now said it cannot happen at Hippie Joe's place. So we need to still get this money because we're on a time frame. So we're thinking of maybe doing a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter.
And do some fundraisers
and
locally
just try to raise
ourselves.
the money for our antenna and transmitter.
Really?
Yeah, the Phillies have purchased more than 22 million kilowatt hours of renewable energy credits.
And I hate the Phillies.
Matching, yeah, but they're greener than anybody else
Yeah,
we know.
good- more power to
Matching
'em.
100% of electrical usage with wind and solar generation. Go
That's cool.
Phillies! That's my team.
They suck this year.
Hell, they suck every year, but that's all right. I still love them. That's my hometown,
Oh, goodness.
so I can't
Okay.
argue.
No, I guess not. So anyway, update.
Oh, how about the U.S.
What?
Army is celebrating Earth Day too?
Really? Well, everyone celebrates, but what
One
do
of
they
the
really
most
do?
polluting organizations on the
Hey,
planet.
they pick up their shells.
But what the shells leave behind, they don't pick up.
Yes.
Have you ever been over to what's the name of that place in Puerto Rico?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I can't.
Something Island. Or?
No, begins with an A. Oh man, I can't believe I'm having another brain fart. I'm sorry. Vacus. It doesn't begin with
Vacus,
an
that's what I
A. It
said.
begins with a V.
That's what I just said.
Vacus.
Yes.
Yes, where they have been bombing for years and years, and now the poor people are trying to live there, and the land is so toxic they can't do anything.
That was a practice bombing range.
Yeah.
For the United States.
When I lived in the
government.
Virgin Islands and sitting on the mountain over in St. John, we could feel everything rumble when they were having their target practice.
Just like our tremors here from the
from geysers.
fracking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So anyway, update. I'll beat my wife to this. Not a lot to report, but the elections office has finally started verifying the signatures on the petition
Referendum.
Referendum. Thank you for the marijuana ordinance in Clear Lake. So hopefully by tomorrow or early next week we'll have the final results.
Probably, I would say the rate they're going early next week. They have till May 7th legally,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
that office has been known for stretching things as long as they can. So who knows?
So anyway, we will be getting results shortly to find out if we've put a stop to the new marijuana ordinance or we are
for Clear
successful,
Lake.
and the council is going to have to go back,
Possibly.
scratch their heads, try to use a little bit of brain power, and come up with a alternative solution to this problem.
It's true. It's true.
But no, we're asking a lot about utilizing their brain power, I think, though.
No, I'm not going to say that.
I said it.
They're
I don't care.
actually they're not stupid people. They just
Well,
don't do their research and they don't follow through with things the way they should.
Let me say, they're very poor administrators. How's that?
Well, they're not supposed to administrate.
No.
The city manager. Oh, which by the way, they're going to be announcing their new city
Yes.
manager.
Yes.
I believe at the next city council meeting.
I believe so, too.
Yes, I think that person has been hired to replace Joan Felipe, and it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
We had one of the council members visit us the other day, and it, because I don't want to give it away, basically was kept mum about the closed meeting about the interviews.
As they should.
Would not comment whatsoever, but it was obvious through the grapevine once again that they had selected somebody and will be announcing it. And the only comment I'm going to make that I heard, again, rumor has it, that the compensation package was extremely attractive. And
I'm sure.
and how many times we have discussed
Oh,
this over
my
the last 2 or
goodness.
3 years about staying within your revenue restraints. And
Unbelievable.
I don't know, maybe the rumor's wrong. I'm hoping it is wrong. But if it's a very lucrative compensation package, the city cannot afford it. I don't get their reasoning, but we'll jump to that subject if and when we actually know the real facts. So we'll move on from that.
Okay. So I'm going to say we should take a quick break so we can get Jim in and settled.
Okay.
Okay. And let me
What music
see
now?
here. I'm going to do the shorter of the two, which is Heal This World, featuring I, Levi, and Coot Dog, and
Who?
Pata Banton.
Oh. Oh, okay.
We'll be right back. It's Terry and Pete and Lake County Magazine.
Mr. Motovanta, easy Levi, rising sun. Shut. Well then, wake up, a new day is dawning. Gather up the people, make we cease the warring now. Let's stop the gunshot, the bombing. Blood is overflowing and the earth is calling out. Yes, Mama Earth is in a state of emergency. Pollution of the air, the land and seas. The planetary ozone is like a war zone, and it affects us globally. Yes, we need a better infrastructure, renewable energy and agriculture. Plant seeds, give back to nature. We need to do it sooner rather than later. Let's get together now. Let's get together now. Let's get together now and heal this world. Yeah. Let's get together now. Let's get together now. Let's get together now and heal this world. Yeah. Hey yo, cool dog, come in my don. Yo, I'm feeling pain as deep as it can get. We can bleed and sweat. Need to give the people self-respect. We ain't leaving yet. Need to get together, make it better from now until forever. Change the weather and never say never, 'cause we can conquer whatever we wanna do. It don't take a crew, just a little piece of me and you. There's natural solutions, we need to try them by using the alternative resources like hemp. Bless the liquor youths them and guide them on their way. We can fix tomorrow for 'em if we recognize today. We can heal this world. I know it ain't that tough. Remember, one world is enough. Rough. Let's get together now. Let's get together now. Let's get together now and heal this world. Yeah. Let's get together now. Let's get together now. Let's get together now and heal this world. Yeah. Easy Freddy man, rough and ready. Calling all school teachers, all Greenpeaceers, all truth preachers, and all peacekeepers, yo. We're sending out an SOS to all international leaders. Now I say, rise up all you fallen soldiers. Stand up, unite, bring down all borders. Bless the youth with food and shelter. Stop the genocide and make life better now. We gotta start with a solid foundation based on worldwide cooperation. That's the only way to change the situation and make it better for the next generation. Join hands 'cause the time has come. Children of the earth, daughters and sons. No matter who you are or where you're from, creation is one, so love one another. Let's get together now. Let's get together now. Let's get together now Yeah, man. Right now. Let's get together now. Let's get together now. Let's get together now and heal this world. Yeah. Creation is one, so love one another.
All right, here we are, back again. Heal This World, that's Pato Banton with I, Levi, and Coot Dog. One of my favorite tunes. Let's get together now and heal this
And,
world, you know?
I've started working with Pato to a certain extent. And, he's always sending me emails just saying, hey, brother, one love, how you doing today? Just
Oh, he's genuine. That's
Yeah.
one of the artists that has always, like, I've known him over 30 years now. And he is one of those people that every time you go see him, you know you're going to see a good show. You know that the words that he says are always going to be positive energy and that he's going to touch people every step he makes. It's just that kind of musician. And he's always a good, happy person. So welcome, Jim.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
we're here with Jim Brown Eagle, and we're just so happy to have you here and so grateful that you decided to come. I'm sorry Gail couldn't make it,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
we do understand. I mean,
Yeah.
we all have our teeth issues. I'm fighting mine back. The doctor told me, the dentist told me that my bottom 4 would have to be taken out. And I was like, no, that's not going to
Yeah.
happen. So I started doing research on the internet, and I found out about coconut oil and coconut oil pulling. And you take it and you pull it through your teeth. And you do that for like 20 minutes. And I started doing that a few months back, and all my teeth have tightened back up. And only one now is still loose. So I may go from only losing one from 4 to 1. So I'll be really happy. But I am like a freak when it comes to that stuff. I'm allergic to Novocaine, so I don't really get a lot of work done unless I have to.
painful.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
So welcome. And why don't we start off by telling people about your show on Tuesdays on KPFC?
Okay, well, pretty much I've been on KPFZ for 16 years, actually. We're
Really?
celebrating that. As you guys know, Clayton Duncan and I, we started together when it was actually a pirate radio show.
Okay.
And so we actually had the first Tribal Voices program together. And then as we got more and went into getting the low plane license for the station, we needed more programmers. So we said, hey, let's have our own separate. So Andy allowed us to do that.
Cool. Nice.
And we pretty much have gone on since there on our own. And now I have the Tribal Voices Radio, which is live every Tuesdays from 5 to 6 p.m. And then the replays are on Mondays from 2 to 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And Clayton's is on Saturday, and his program is called The Voice of White Plume.
Yeah. We actually get to hear your show on the way home from the office.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I try to, again, my program is really, that's why I really enjoyed KPFC in the beginning, is because of the fact that the Native voice has never been out there. And that's what
It's
we
so
wanted
true.
to bring out, our issues and how we're really connected with our communities. And nobody really seen that before. And a lot of people are uneasy because we talk about the old racism that has gone on, the
Yeah,
the
it's a
history
tough
of
situation,
California,
isn't it?
And
Yeah.
a lot of people don't like hearing that,
Well,
So-
I can understand how I think a lot of people, and I'm going to say white people because I think I speak for the Caucasian race in the sense that many people weren't from here that came here. Many people's ancestors did not come here. I personally can't say that because my family came here in the 1800s, the Myers family, M-Y-E-R-S. But they located up in the Seattle area, but my grandfather was a gold miner in the Yukon.
Right.
So I'm sure there was interactions that went
Oh, yes.
down that were
Yeah.
not pleasant. And I'm not going to say,
Right.
when people of African-American descent talk to me about slavery, I say, well, I know my family never had any slaves. But I can't tell you that my family never had an interaction with Native people
Right.
because they were there during those times. So
Yes.
I'm not going to try and say, no, we didn't do nothing because I really don't know. know. There's nothing in our history that documents any of that, unfortunately, like so many other people that were lost.
And
s-
too, what I tell people is that really, if more people read,
Yes,
read books,
history.
the truth would get out there. And to me, one of the books I've been promoting, actually, I'm trying to get Brandon Lindsay, his name is, on an interview. He, to me, has the latest and the best book called Murder State, the genocide of California Native Americans. And that really tells the true history. And the great thing is he did all this research, and he shows where Missouri actually was the jumping off place for all the pioneers coming west.
Right.
And he went in, he got their biographies, their written notes
Oh,
about
wonderful.
what their experience were, and he actually showed that less than 30% of them ever had any conflicts with Native Americans coming this way.
Of course.
But that was the story to build up, and they were actually being done by people like Hastings, who is the Hastings Law School is named after. He wrote a book on how to come out to the West, and he had trails, and he would show certain people that were his relatives the right trail and the other people the wrong trail. A good example, what people don't know, is he's the one who misled the Donner Party.
The Donner Party.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
so-
my goodness.
So they show this, and this was from Oregon and California, and they were showing these trails to California, and they were giving them all the information. Watch out for Indians. Well, yet there was no attacks here in California at all.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Well,
that's
yeah,
what I'm
and there's
saying.
there's an energy of denial that
Yes.
people who are responsible or whose families were responsible don't want to admit it.
Right.
And then your new people that come into the area that say, "Hey, I'm from back east, man. We didn't do nothing. My people
Right.
came from Europe,
Right.
and we're innocent, so don't
Yes.
blame me." So they don't want to take responsibility. Well, I got in trouble one time with a former Facebook friend. He's since gotten rid of me because I guess I'm trying to remember his name. I want to say it was Grey Wolf was his name. Not our Grey Wolf,
okay.
another Grey Wolf. And at one point, I just felt I had seen some things from other people on the net, and there was a movement going on that just said, just apologize, regardless of whether you were involved in or not. Just say, I'm sorry.
Right.
So I made a post, and all I said was, I didn't explain anything. I just said, I'm sorry. And he saw that, and he got all mad at me. He said, he said, why are you apologizing for something you didn't do?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you know what? I just feel like if we don't start forgiving and we don't start apologizing and taking responsibility for what the ancestors did before us, whether they were our ancestors or our neighbors' ancestors, if we don't take responsibility for that, then what kind of humans are we? We are all human beings, and we all have to be human beings to each other. We can't be you're one type of human, you're another type of human,
Yeah.
We're all the same humans. I have a friend in Ethiopia right now. ISIS is in his town. They are killing his people. He's locked up in his house with his mother. He said they haven't been out of their house in 3 days. He's a Christian Ethiopian. I said, dude, tell him you're a Muslim. Save your life. God doesn't care what name you call him. He's still going to love you no matter what. Never take a religion to your death. Okay? And this is the problem we have in our society. We believe that religion is the be all, say all.
Right.
When in reality, our religion is in here and in our earth and all around us all at the same time. And that's what I think we all need to learn to
Well,
live
that's
together.
why I feel really good, because what's happening, matter of fact, my hat, which has big time, a lot
I
of people
see
ask about
that.
it. In California here, again, there's a lot of stereotypes of the Plains Indians, and
Right.
we weren't Plains Indians.
Yeah,
you know.
where's your,
We
where's your
actually
bonnet
had
and everything?
land ownership, and when I tell people that, they're blown away, like, oh, Indians didn't know about property, Well, we were fishermen, and we
Right.
all owned coves. We had chiefs. And a good example, like Rattlesnake Island, what people don't realize is that was our chief's island, and his immediate family lived there, and relatives, and everywhere else. So there's actually a record. Now, see, a good example. A lot of people used to tell me, Jim, you should have, gone to college and gotten a degree. And you know what? It was funny was my journey through education was the more educated I got, the more angry I got, because realizing why is this truth hidden
Exactly.
from everyone. And so I said, I don't want to have nothing to do with these universities. And it's just like, seem like they compile all our information, they take all our cultural resources, and they store it. So one of their professors later on could write his doctrine on it, and so I've seen things like that happen. But I think what really helped me focus more is my parents. Without my parents, I would be nowhere. I wouldn't be the person I am today because they basically told me the truth all my life. And they said the hard thing is, again, the truth is a
Oh, sorry,
two-edged
that's
sword.
Sydney.
That's Sydney.
Just coming
She's
to
our-
say hello. She has to greet all of our guests.
Okay. Yeah, she's one of our relatives.
Yes,
Yeah,
she
she's the
is.
most popular thing in this office.
Oh,
anyway.
wow. What is she? What,
She's half Australian Shepherd,
Okay.
and we think the other half is Doberman.
Oh, okay.
think so.
Yeah,
We're
my
still
dog
not
looks
sure.
almost like her. He's
Really?
bigger. He's half
Beautiful.
pit though, but
Ah.
he's a, what is it? A Rhodesian.
Ridgeback.
Ridgeback?
Oh.
Oh, I love
And-
Ridgies.
We used
but
to have
what a
them.
great dog. I mean,
Oh.
I walk every day
Ridgebacks are
with
some
them,
of the
actually.
best dogs that
Yeah,
were ever
so-
made.
But see,
really.
that's that's what my parents pretty much said is that everything here is our relative, whether it's
Yes.
the plants, the animals,
Yes.
the people. We're all related, and it took me a while to really understand that. Growing up, because again, I think I've been through every government program around. For example, my family was relocated from here in 1959 to Oakland, California, because the plan was always to get rid of all the Indian reservations in California, because we were left with small land bases and 20 acres, 50 acres, 3 or 4 families left. So the great thing is my family, when we moved there, Oakland's not very far from here.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
we maintained our home. Plus, my
good.
father was our traditional leader at the roundhouse, so he had to come home and make sure we had ceremonies going in like that. So we never lost our tie. Whereas I had an uncle who was relocated to Los Angeles, and he never came home unless there was maybe a funeral, and then his family got involved in kind of the melting pot down there. And I always tell this joke when they came home. They were riding in a, what we call a low rider car. And I would say, Uncle, your tire's low. And I didn't understand the difference. And here we're first cousins, and we grew up differently. As a matter of fact, unfortunately, my tribe is divided now because
It
of
is.
that family.
It is.
Matter of fact, that family now took over our tribe. They moved here to Laurel Lake. They're next door over here. And they disenfranchised everybody living on the reservation.
How could they be in that position of power without actually living on the reservation?
Yeah, see, that's what we're saying. It's the Bureau of Indian Affairs again that's involved
Again.
with this and deliberate. Now, so what I basically am writing, and I'm not really a writer, now I'm hoping I can submit this to you guys as well,
Sure.
is a story about environmental justice. And basically, it's for example, when I moved back home, I was living down in Santa Rosa working for Yakima, which is an Indian organization out there. And my job there was to recruit Native American dropouts into our GED program.
Oh, wonderful.
And so after I moved back home, I actually became our first tribal administrator in 1974. So, and I was young. I was 23 years old.
Wow.
I was very naive. I really didn't know. But all I knew was I wanted to get something going for the reservation because, again, there I grew up with no running water,
yeah.
no electricity. We used to actually take those big milk cans to the Red and White store in the Oaks and fill it up with water for our drinking water because the lake was so bad even then. So I have a lot of that experience. And then besides my family not staying in the melting pot in Oakland, although we're diehard Raider fans,
Cool.
and, 49er, we loved all the teams. We didn't discriminate, But again, what happened was when we moved back, it was almost like we were moving back to a foreign country of, all the people here just weren't up on what was going on in the
Oh,
world.
wow, yeah.
And so it
Isolated.
was kind of hard, And,
Yeah.
but so what I did was our elders started to say, which were all fishermen, our fish is really bad. We're getting sick. And one of our young girls.
This is
actually-
after the Sulphur Bank.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And again, see though, but look at this now. We all worked there. Matter of fact, when we left in 1959, my father, Jim Brown Jr., I'm actually Jim Brown III, he was the caretaker. We lived in a house up on the mining property. And so a lot of the native people worked in the mine as well, including my grandfather, Jim Brown Sr. So we had still a lot of work there and stuff like that. So we had some, we always participated, basically trying to find work for everyone. So we were what we call a landlocked tribe, where we had to actually drive through the mining company
Yeah.
to the mine itself to go to our reservation. And our children and myself, we used to walk through the mining company just to catch the school bus because they would not come into the reservation.
For those people who aren't aware, the mine we're talking about is the old Sulphur Bank mine.
Yes.
Which is located in Clear Lake Oaks, right next to the LM Rancheria.
Right.
And this was a mercury mine.
Yes.
also
yeah.
known as cinnabar, and it was highly toxic.
Yes,
And
very
the mercury has leached into Clear Lake and has settled in the sediment and has gotten into the food chain.
Yes.
So the fish were sick, or still are sick,
Yes.
and the whole cycle of everything that came out of the lake that your people were living off of was
Right.
made toxic,
Right.
basically.
So that's like the
Not to mention the
environmental-
tailings were used to build the
yes,
houses.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
ironic that now after, so for example, because we've never lost our culture, which is so great, we continue our roundhouse ceremonies. We invited a group of Berkeley high school students to participate, to come up and just see the roundhouse and see the ceremonies, and they were actually appalled when they left because they said, "It's like going to a third world country." Here in California, no running water. Who's responsible? So they start writing to senators, and the Bureau of Indian Affairs got so embarrassed. In 1971, they came in with a housing road project for us. Like you said, unfortunately, what did they do? Because of the 100-year floodplain, our homes had to be put up on dikes. So they went next door and bought the toxic mine waste.
They paid money for it?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
And put it on our roads and our housing. Okay, so then our tribe kept saying, "Wait a minute now, what is going on here?" You know, and it was more like, "Hey, you should be just shut up and be quiet because you're getting new homes and all this kind of stuff and a new right of way into the reservation."
Unbelievable.
So a lot of the people just kind of said, "All right, well, we at least we got homes, but it really took not only our native people, but a lot of the seniors, the non-Indian seniors from the Oaks area. What happened was we started what they call the Mercury Task Force. And the great thing is we actually had, I don't know if you can call him a whistleblower from the Fish and Game, that
my.
actually sent us all the materials on how toxic the fish were and the lands around us. So then it took like in the early 80s, we nominated the Mercury mine to the Superfund division of US EPA. It got listed, and that means it's scheduled for funding and for work. Now, again, remember, this is back in 81, and they actually didn't come in until 2006 to clean that up. So look at how long that was. And, of course, the real problem was the Bureau of Indian Affairs, who didn't want to own up to the fact that they brought in this toxic waste. And so all the blame went directly to the mine. Of course, they did contaminate it. But what happened was, we're the good guys and the mining company is the bad guys. And so every time our tribe tried to bring it up, they would stop our funding from the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Oh, my goodness.
So, and then there's a lot of conflict of interest. So what happened was the director of the road department, his name was Harold Bradford, who was a Native American, who purchased these taps. He actually, in 5 years, became the superintendent of the agency. Okay, so he was going to make sure that we never brought up the fact that his department did this. So every time we brought it up, our funding got shut down.
Oh, my
So the tribe
goodness.
just kind of went on and, okay, let's survive. At least we got jobs. At least we got starting our community. So that's what we kind of sacrificed that for. And then we've had a lot of change of leadership as well. And see, that's my biggest problem I've seen is that until we decolonize our tribes, we still have a lot of internal issues that we have to resolve because we're not teaching our children their own history, what has happened here. So they just come in not knowing and understanding, thinking, oh, this is the best thing. Like everyone thought Indian gaming would be one of the best things for us because we'd have our own money, to do things where we're not restricted by the federal grants and all of this. Well, again, look what it did. There's more than 4,500 Native Americans being disenrolled from their tribes because of the fight over the revenue of gaming.
Right.
And so that's the biggest
Yeah, I mean, look
epidemic
what's
right
been
now.
going on at Robinson all
Yes,
this time.
yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys heard the show, but I got in contact with a great attorney, one of the few Native Americans that's been on.
That was
this.
on yesterday?
No, it was a couple of weeks ago. His name's
Okay.
Gabe Galanda, and he's actually from Round Valley, but he lives up in Washington State. His mom was, taken to the boarding school, and he ended up growing up there in Washington. So that's the other thing that people don't realize. Native Americans weren't allowed in the public schools. And so they had to be transferred over to boarding schools. And so a lot of them were raised up out of their state, and many of them never even came home. So that's a big problem. Like we talk about Clayton and I will talk about, we got too many boarding school mentality people running our governments, and that is what has happened to us, unfortunately. So again, that's why I've always been, I guess, interested in history. And like my grandparent once told me, he goes, well, when we get these English words, we got to really break them down, because history is really spelled HISTORY.
That's right.
It's his story. It's
His
not
story.
ours.
Exactly. I love it.
And so they start to teach me little things, and I learned more from the elders, because we had more traditional elders at the time that I grew up around, and I was fortunate to be there. Now I'm the youngest of 7, and I'm 62 years old, and so all of my family, we went down to Oakland. Matter of fact, my sister, who was our last chairperson, Jerry, right? We were always so proud of her, because she was always the one advancing, and she actually was the executive secretary for the Oakland public school superintendent, Marcus Foster. And people maybe don't click with that name, but Marcus Foster was actually killed by the Symbionese Liberation Army. Remember
Oh
that?
my goodness!
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
that we have a lot of experience like that. I said our family's been involved. Many of my family been the cultural leaders and elected leaders as well. So I have a lot of great experience to go from in my own family.
Right.
But again, so I've always pretty much been a home person, staying here and doing that. But I think again, I like when I first mentioned to my father, I said, I went to I wasn't really getting nothing out of the public school here in Lower Lake, and they were just making us athletes because we were good in sports. So all my brothers played at every sport, including myself. As soon as I got there, one of the things I always bring up, and my family says, "Dad, quit telling that story." Well, when I got into high school, I actually took mechanical drawing, and as soon as I walked into mechanical drawing, the coach, one of the football guys, says, he called me Brownie. Brownie, what are you doing here? I go, I'm mechanical drawing. I want to learn. He goes, no. You go down. So I had actually
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I had 2
That's
athletic
disgusting.
periods, so I could play football and sports.
Right.
So that's what I ended up doing. And then like I said, when I was 16, is when the occupation of Alcatraz happened. So I pretty much said to my parents, you know what, I want to go. I'm not getting nothing out of the school. So their goal was to get all their children to at least graduate high school. Mm-hmm. So I pretty much went to Alcatraz and spent 3 months there. Really enjoyed it. Matter of fact, one of my heroes that I still talk about today, I first met was John Trudell down there. And
I love
it
John.
was so great to know somebody like him that had all that, that centered, and he understood things.
He's like he's in another dimension.
Yes, he is.
He does not live on this earth with us.
Right.
That's the one thing I love about him.
Well, I always say he's the first Indian philosopher that I've known, and
yeah,
it's just,
definitely.
He's just, his mind.
He was actually going to do our Fire in the Barn,
Right.
Because we asked him, and he's actually on tour in the Midwest during that
Oh,
time.
wow,
but he
yeah.
promised he will come do a Cobb Mountain Radio fundraiser for us.
really?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah.
Well, it was funny though. So I came home, and my parents, because I promised them I would go back to school and finish school, and so I came home, but I was really upset, and I was sitting at the dinner table, and I said to my dad, I go, Dad, I'm just tired of this dumb stereotypes these white people got on us, and they don't know anything, and he's just kind of listening to me, and I'm going, look at this dumb people, they're over here looking for India. So what do? They name us India, and we accept the name. I go, what do you think, Dad? I was pressuring him, right? Then he just kind of stops eating, looks at me, and goes, well, maybe you ought to be thankful they weren't looking for turkey. And then I realized those names.
Oh, that's great.
Don't worry about that, because if you know who you are, they're not going to bother you.
Right.
So I grew up around all those stereotypes and allowed people to say, "Oh, you're an Indian," or things like
Well,
that.
let me interject one
Yeah.
thing here, and not to get away from what you're
Yeah.
trying to state here, is that I'm originally from Australia.
Okay.
And if people think it's just the American government that has done this, or the American, quote, white attitudes here,
Right.
I got news for you folks. In Australia, and I'm not proud of this because I love my heritage, is that the Aborigines, which are like Native Americans,
Yes.
just a different continent,
Yeah.
they were abused the same, if not even worse, the way
Right.
they were treated by the Australian government and the Australian people.
Right.
And to this day, the people in the generation of 80 years old and up still have a built-in prejudice. They may not show it as much because of society these days, but they still have it. And I've seen firsthand some of the conditions the Aboriginals were made to live in that were absolutely, and I'm sure you can relate to this,
Well,
just
heck,
absolutely horrible.
We've been to Hopi Land. They still don't have water up
Yes,
there.
Right.
I know.
You know,
look at that here in America.
we
you
did
know?
several reggae shows up there and festivals for them, and it just, you know, when you see the homes and the way they're living, again, it's a third world country, even now in the 21st century, 22nd century.
But I think
whatever
they
it is.
almost choose to do that.
No, well, actually, with the Hopi people, it's a little different because they are not in any way interested in living in the modern world. They just like their traditional world and their traditional ways, and that's
Now,
they
Pete,
just keep it
isn't
that
that
way.
true, Pete? That I was told through history that all the white people got to Australia because they were in jail and England sent them there.
Actually,
exiled them. Is
Yeah.
that true?
That is true.
It
What
is.
happened was in England, people literally had to steal bread just to survive,
Yes,
no less
the
live.
commoners, yeah.
And so the English government at that time said, we don't need these people. So yes, they literally shipped them over to Australia, either Sydney in New South Wales
Yeah.
or to Tasmania.
Right.
And my wife and I had the pleasure of visiting Tassie and seeing the old jails, how the prisoners were treated. So yes, I can understand that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait a minute,
We've
just to
all
get
been
back
slaves
to
at
what-
one time or another.
Oh, what I after I, like my dad told me that, you know, and so I was needed to finish high school. So I told him, look, I don't want to go to a public school anymore. I want to go to an all Indian school. And at the time, I was really unaware of the boarding school system. And
Ah,
so
okay.
To me, I was proud. I'm going to get to an Indian school. So they actually found me one in Nevada called Stewart Indian School. So I'm all proud going over there, and like my hair was below my knees at the time, and I'm going to this all Indian school, and I got there, and it was just like going to the army. They, put me in the shower, they loused me and shaved my head, and while this was going on, everyone was stealing what I brought, with me, and I tell this little story that really woke me up to alcohol and drugs and stuff. But my parents bought me this old perfume called High Karate. Have you remember?
I do remember that.
I had a big bottle of it, right? Yeah. So, and then I start telling my roommates after I found out all my stuff was stolen, and I said, you know what? I go, see these dumb people, these up Indians. I said, when they wear that, I'm going to know who took it, so I'm going to get them back, And I go, because they're all, and then they were all laughing at me, and I go, what are you guys laughing at? You ain't going to smell that on nobody. I go, why is that? They go, because it has 15% alcohol.
They
in
drank it.
They drank it.
Oh my God!
And then I realized, wow, look at that.
my
That's going on
God.
here.
Good point.
It woke me up to
Didn't even
really
think of
what
that.
these schools were doing and
Oh,
how
wow.
they forced the kids. And again, I was feeling sorry for myself there, as a junior. And there were kids in the first grade there that never saw their parents. So,
Well, isn't that
school.
a stereotype that Native Americans have that they can't handle their alcohol?
Right.
Because
right.
the Aborigines are the exact same way. Everyone just disses them because don't give them anything because they'll
Yeah.
just go wild and
Right.
yeah, which is a shame because
Yeah.
we have alcoholism in every race. It has nothing to do
Yeah.
with one or
Hey,
the
my
other.
father was an alcoholic. He died at 46, so I'm a personal example of that.
And you survived.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, and I at 26, I had peptic ulcers, and the doctor said you got to quit drinking or you're going to really suffer for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
and
I
I
had a
did.
couple uncles die from that too.
I
as well.
did. I
Yeah.
took it and stopped drinking. So
But
I
like,
ended that in
like
my
I said,
life.
what happened then? It woke me up because I wasn't getting money like a lot of these other Indian people were. Most of them were like from Nevada, Idaho, Arizona, and I got myself in trouble and got beat up a lot because I had this whole different view. I mean, the first thing when I got there, they said, "Oh." A Mexican from California pretending to be Indian, and then I would look at him. I go, "Gee, look at
Oh,
you guys!
my
This cowboy hats and
gosh.
boots. Are you guys the Indian John Wayne?" And so, like I said, I got beat up a lot, and but it really helped me after I made friends with some of the local Paiutes and Shoshones and stuff like that. So I actually really enjoyed it after a while. But then I worked in the kitchen to get like extra food, things
Right.
like this, and then all of a sudden it was okay. Today we got special visitors. Bring out the real, plates and the forks.
Yep.
And the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Oh
was
my
visiting.
goodness! Are you
absolutely.
So
serious?
all the old stuff was thrown away. We brought out the silverware, and then I realized, wow, the government's behind this.
Well, let me tell you,
And,
the same
know,
thing happens in the prison system. When
Yeah.
the warden or the deputy warden comes into the yard and wants to inspect everything, all of a sudden everyone has new clothes, everyone has a
Right.
new bed spread. It's so it happens everywhere, unfortunately.
And then I think too, like I said, my father was so great and truthful with me, and I remember coming home too, and talking with him, and he said, well, the first thing you should do when you're on this journey of finding who you are, is make sure you know what your blood is. And I go, oh well, I'm Native. No, he goes, no, you're not. There's a lot of things that happened to us. He says slavery. There's a lot of intermarriages that went on. So I basically looked up, the Brown name, and pretty much, like he said, so what he said was my grandfather, Jim Brown Sr., was half Native and half white.
Aha.
He was still a cultural leader and our chief, and he spoke fluently. He did all of that because his father pretty much abandoned him. But my grandmother, who was a female chief, said, no, we're keeping the name Brown. So that name is in our family, and we're pretty much know that we have, for example, me, I'm 1/8, non-Indian, and we thought it was English, but we know right now it's probably not. It's probably Scottish.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
So I might even be related to Rob Brown. So anyway,
Could very well be.
Yeah, but so that was his thing. Tell us, make sure you know who you are. Don't go into this and understand. And then the other great thing was my mother. It was half Hawaiian, and so we always had that heritage with us. And my mom, if you ever, she passed on, made her journey, but she looks really more Hawaiian if you see her. But she actually went to Hawaii about maybe 6 or 7 times in her life. We actually went there in 2005, where our whole family was invited because they heard we had Hawaiian heritage. And we went to the big powwow over there, which was great. We got to meet some family and things like that. So, again, like I said, we have to understand who we are and understand, where we come from. And so that's what my father helped me do, was focus on that. And but like I tell everyone, just because I know that I'm not that low blood in me, I don't, put a kilt on, or I don't try to run and be a, it's just, I know that I'm mixed,
Right. Almost all of us.
Right. So again, so like I said, he opened up my eyes, and then I got out of that boarding school system, came back, and then I just started most of my life working for Indian tribes, and that was my goal, was to help Indian tribes. And one of the main things I've been proud of is that I actually was the co-founder of the Lake County Tribal Health. And so after I was a tribal administrator, I basically went online, and the only skill I actually learned in high school was typing. And of course, at that time, high school, that's where all the girls were at. So you took the typing class, Well, I realized, hey, I can type 45 words a minute, So when the computer also came along, it really helped me in my skills. So what I started to be was a grant writer. And I started to go on and look at all the federal grants. And so most of my success has been writing federal grants and then implementing those grants.
I think we found somebody who can help us get money for the radio station.
We're going to be calling on you.
So what I found out was not only in 1975, what they call the Indian Self-Determination Law, Public Law 93-638 came out. That's where all the tribes get their funding. And see, what happened at one time, the small tribes in California always get the short end of the stick because we didn't have the large land base and the large population. So the government would fund you based on population. So every year we would get like $3,000, And so we fought under the Indian Self-Determination Act for small tribes to get a basic funding. And what happened was every small tribe now is eligible for $250,000 in federal grants just from the Bureau of Indian Affairs alone. That doesn't include HUD, all the other EPA grants. So many, that's how most of the tribes have survived. The bad thing about it is I remember in 1975, one of the first things that our tribe wanted was our own business. And because we were on the lake, we wanted a marina. I was working with a group called Intertribal Council of California, and they had an excellent grant writer. We went to Washington, actually to Seattle, to submit a proposal for our marina complex. And pretty much the government said, no, that's not in this year. Go for a community center, And our thing is, wait a minute, we want a business.
Right.
See, so that's the biggest problem that I've seen with the government is they never really supported that business until gaming came in for tribes to get into their own business and teach our kids that we can have our own business. So it's all more like, a welfare system of grant funding is what we survive.
Well, I think that's what the purpose is.
Yes, and that's what it did. It colonized us, more to thinking this is our only source, and BIA, you're our best friend.
Well, couldn't you be looking for grants outside of quote government and the Bureau of Indian Affairs, where you could actually go out like any other person and attract either angels or other investors or grants from outside?
Yes, you could. See, and that was one of the things that a lot of tribes didn't think they could do.
Right.
And so there were many more, way more successful than I was, that were doing that. And so again, what basically happened is that's where we said, look at, we are not getting adequate health care here in Lake County. So when another Indian Health Grant, or actually public law was passed called 94-437, which is the Indian Health Care Improvement Act, then I put in a proposal to create the first 100% funded Indian health program for the tribes here in Lake County. And at the time, only Elam, Robinson, and Middletown and Upper Lake were federally recognized. The Big Valley tribe and the Scotts Valley did not have their federal status back. So what we did was we united together, we put resolutions together, creating a consortium, and we got funded. So that's how we get started with the Indian Health Program that's still operating. Today they're around a $10-15 million project,
right.
And full services for Native Americans.
Right. With the casino revenues that come in, and I have no idea how profitable they may or may not be. I know in Arizona how profitable they are.
Yeah.
But can a certain amount of funds or percentage of profits be allocated to a fund for the creation of businesses and job creation?
Yes.
Because, waiting for government to do something,
Right.
we could be dead and buried by that time.
Yeah, I know.
So I think that anyone, be it Native Americans, be it whomever, need to take the bull by the horns and basically say, I can't wait for government. What can I do to improve my situation? I think a lot of it boils down to who you are and working together, be it by yourself or with others in your community to generate these opportunities.
Yeah, a good example is look at the word sovereignty. I couldn't spell it when I first heard it.
I don't think I can spell
not let's know what it meant. And see that's the key there. Tribes need to assert their sovereignty, and that's what those business ventures would be. But again, we had this mentality, the welfare mentality of grants. We have to get grants, and see that's where to me where I've really stood out from other people, and even when I talk about it, other Native tribes get antsy and no, we don't want to go there. We don't want to. Here's an example. Okay, Canacta Harbor Inn when it closed. Okay, I was the only person out there saying, look at if this became a Native American casino, we would keep those 300-400 jobs they had, show that we have care for the county, and look at most of the workers where there were non-Indian workers. And they would still have their jobs. We would show that we are a part of this county and can work together. But no, the Board of Supervisors wouldn't have nothing to do with it, and they actually passed a resolution saying no Indian tribes can get that place. We'll have
That's what I heard, yeah.
And of course they rescinded that a few years later, but that's the mentality that we always grew up around here. And although, matter of fact, my family goes back with many of the people that are here in office. A good example, I have a picture of our Sheriff Clausen. Our tribe was the first tribe to have the first funded Head Start program in this county.
Nice.
And his father was a friend of my father, and he brought him to the school. So his actual name was
Talking
Tiger.
about Chief
and he used to
Clausen
go around.
from Clear Lake?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I have it. Matter of fact, my wife was his tutor in the school. So what we had 80% of our Native kids and 20% from the local town, Clear Lake Oaks. And the Clausens were one of the families that attended it. So like I said, there's a lot of things that we know and involvement we've had here. So like I said, I've always enjoyed knowing that and knowing the history here, and really saying, look at it. If we ever are allowed to participate, look at how much more we can do for this county. Now, like back on the casinos, to me, what we have here are what I call ma and pa casinos.
Yeah.
You know, we're not. Some of these casinos might make 2, maybe 3 million a year. You know, in the big cities, they're making that a month.
Yeah.
You know, and because it's driven. Now, a good example, I called I think it was Herb's show a few weeks ago. They're talking about how to try to improve the city of Clear Lake. Well, I brought up, hey, what about a casino? And he was like, oh no.
I've been
And I
saying
always
that
thought he was like a
too.
liberal
I'm so
thinking
glad to hear you
progressive
say
guy,
that.
But it was, oh no, we can't have that. You know, and yet I see that's what I see all the time. Nobody has lived here long enough to understand, because I remember when it was
We
Clear
need
Lake
another
Highlands
one. Absolutely.
and the park, and you know, we had some great you know, things going on there. You know what, in baseball wise, I don't know if you heard this, but Austin's was a hardball field there. Okay. And we even had
Really?
Joe DiMaggio and his
my
brother
gosh.
came there and played against the Indian team.
Oh, cool.
And at the time, there
Wow.
was Native American hardball teams that played at the fairgrounds. We would play in Mendocino County and things like that. So there's a lot of history here that most people just don't know
Definitely.
about.
Well,
you
I'm
know.
glad to see you support a casino idea. When I had heard something about the Khoi tribe getting involved here and the fact that they had all their land completely taken away from
Right.
them, but that they are traditionally in the Anderson Marsh, Clear Lake area,
Right.
I was thinking, why don't they take the airport property and make that a casino?
Yes. Yeah.
They could easily do that. That's their traditional land.
Yeah.
We need a south end. We got Twin Pines way out that way.
Right.
We got everything on the North Lake. There's nothing in Clear Lake Oaks or here
Right.
that can draw people to this area. And that really, I believe, would be a good
Yeah, I mean,
answer.
you know what? I always thought. I actually went to. I was the first time ever I was elected as the chairman of my tribe was from 1998 to 2000, and what was key about that was in '99 is when the compact was being negotiated. So I attended all those negotiations in Los Angeles, and I ran into some people saying, look at up in Lake County, you could bring a replica riverboat
Oh, yeah.
and
And
make
do the
that,
gambling
and
on
look
the
at
boat, on the
draw
river,
that
on the
you could-
lake.
So I was trying to
Absolutely.
push that
Good
idea.
point.
but,
Yeah, it's
you know,
excellent
nobody
idea.
here wanted to, you know, even look at that.
Don't you find that there is really a lack of foresight in this?
Yes, there is.
in this
As a matter of
town.
fact, today we were talking about how, you know, the craziest things are. Seem like we can always go back and write a comic book about our board of supervisors, but you know, we're all saying we should maybe really change the name of our county to Flake County.
I know.
Based on, you know,
I got in so much trouble for saying that on KPFZ. Oh, my gosh.
but it's funny though, because if you really think about it, one of our number one resources here in trade items was the obsidian. Matter of fact, the obsidian that we traded here, you could find in other states. An anthropologist told me that the Lake County obsidian was found upon the Mississippi River. And that
Wow.
means it traded that far.
Right.
Wow.
And to me, then it had to go down to South America as well.
Of course,
You know?
of course.
So there was a lot. And then what happened there, a lot of people don't know that, is, matter of fact, it was Earth Day back in, what was it, I forget when the Pomo School was created. We did a protest because that was the largest obsidian quarry here.
Really?
Within 400 miles that they built the school right on top of, and then to honor us, they name it the Pomo School.
Oh, my
You know,
gosh.
and you should see the truckloads of obsidian they hauled out of there. And still to this day, they can't go without the obsidian coming up through the ground and cutting someone. And
Oh, my goodness.
so it was a bait and switch thing. When the school was supposed to be at another location behind where Safeway is at now. And then they moved it over
Burns
there.
Valley Road.
Yeah. So there's a
Wow.
lot of that. See that I've been involved in, and so.
Well,
like I
was
said,
Bottle Rock Road also a source, or?
no, because see, Bottle Rock, and that's what I let people know, and my elders told me that. That's why it's called Bottle Rock, because you can't break it; it shatters like glass.
Oh,
it's
so
not a
it
good
wasn't
quality.
good to make
No.
tools.
But there
and
are
things.
other areas up there that have good quality, but not
And
there.
then there's also over by Kitts Corner. There's another outcropping of
Yes,
obsidian
yes.
there as well.
And then, matter of fact, when they put that new grape vineyard thing in there, you should
Yeah.
see all the ones they pulled out of there too as well.
Oh,
So
boy.
yeah, there's a lot of that. But like I said, there's
It's a
you know,
shame. Well,
great
even
thing.
where we live, we have a house on Point Lakeview on Anderson Road, and one of our sheds got blown over the other day, and it seems that the property was built on either someone else's house or maybe even a little village, because we found the first thing that happened, the first rainy day, I noticed in my driveway a woven grass, I don't know if it's an ankle bracelet or a neck bracelet, but it's woven with tan and black grass in perfect condition, like it must have been underneath the shed all these years. And then I went back and I looked under the foundation where the shed was, and I found a long, thin stone tool of some kind that had obviously been, maybe it was used to poke in the fire or something, but or as a scoop or something like that. But it was obvious that it had been actually, made that way, intentionally, hammered that way.
Well, that's why I've always pushed. Matter of fact, when I was running for supervisor, I mentioned that is that we need a Native American run museum.
We do, because I would definitely donate them to that. And when I asked Dr. John about it, Dr. Parker, he told me that from Anderson Marsh and all the way up over Point Lakeview, that was all the Khoi people, and that they had villages all over that peninsula. Now we see no trace of anything, and everything's gone now. But you could feel the energy,
like
though.
the things you're finding. There are many people here that could donate just the stuff they have in their house.
Exactly. I would definitely do that, because what am I going to do with it? Except put it on my shelf.
What happens legally is that, like, for example, Sonoma State, they have a right to all of the artifacts here, and it pretty much goes down there and puts in their basement.
Oh, hell no.
And it sits there.
Hell no.
Why do they have a right?
Yeah.
Because they have what they call a clearinghouse, more like, and there are different. For example, Humboldt State up in northern, they have one, and they actually are the first one that gave it over to the tribe.
Excellent.
The tribe is now operating that up there.
Oh, good. So now we just need to get control from Sonoma.
Yes.
Also.
So, and see, what I found out was many of the tribes, again, asserting our sovereignty, we can open up our own what you call collection facilities.
Perfect,
Whereas when they're doing, say, work here in Lower Lake or work in the Oaks, instead of that going to the university, it goes to the tribe.
That's the way it should be. Yeah.
Has to make sure they have a place to store it.
Right.
They also have to allow anthropologists and archaeologists to come in and look at it. But the great thing is this: we can charge them.
Nice.
See, so you can make money
that's
off
good.
as
That's
well.
what you need to do, definitely.
So
we also
yeah.
found, just to finish, we had a small cannonball found in the road in front of our yard.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I know that was also another tradition, was the white people used to sit in the boats and shoot the cannons off and try to get people to move off their land. So now I feel guilty being there, saying to myself, well, this was someone's home that was probably taken away with violence.
Yes.
I don't believe this property was taken away in goodness. And so it makes me feel bad now, but obviously we can't do anything about it. And I love
Before
my home.
we go off here, I just wanted to mention a couple of things that I try to.
We've got time. We can take
try to
it
tell
to the
people
top
about.
if
Like
you want.
we're talking about Earth Day, one of the biggest celebrations
Right.
today, and in the Native American community, we kind of laugh because it's like, gee, one day for Earth Day, when every day,
every day
Earth,
should
we
be
can't
Earth
live.
Day.
But,
Exactly.
it kind of goes back to I think something I heard from John Trudell a few years ago is that, to me, the best way to celebrate Earth Day is not to be a consumer. So in other words, it would be great if one day out of the month, maybe we can say, not use our car, not use our electricity in our home. Matter of fact, take your shoes off, stay home. Little things like that. I think to me is more of a celebration of Earth Day, because we're actually honoring it instead of out there speaking and having speeches about these great things we should be doing.
That's what I was saying before you came in, was that our generation, let's use that term.
Right.
Okay, because I'm just 1 year older than you.
Okay.
Is that back in the 60s, 70s, we didn't just speak the words, we acted to those words.
Yes.
And I was saying about back east, how all the people my age group went out and improved the wetlands. Improve the wetlands and actually were physically involved in doing something.
Right.
And these days, I hate to use the generic term of this generation, they don't seem to have the same outlook or attitude towards they may preach it.
Yeah.
But do they actually physically go out and try to do something improving their environment?
Right.
I just
Very
don't
true.
think the same motivation is there.
Yes. Yes.
So.
Well, one of the things I am planning, and I haven't confirmed it yet, is back when I was running for District 3 supervisor, I realized again that our people here have to be educated about the history of this Native Americans in this county. So I'm looking at doing some history. Actually, I have a PowerPoint already prepared about the history of our tribe in Lake County.
Oh, that's so
and
cool.
I'm thinking of going to the senior centers and doing presentations. And I already got a couple of them saying, "Hey, we'd really like that," because most people have no idea or no clue about the
Maybe
history.
we can come up with a mutual arrangement where we could either come in the studio, do that, and tape it, or do a live presentation and have a
Yeah.
repeat on our channel.
Right.
Because
right.
that way you get out to all aspects of the population.
Yeah, yeah, and I think if we show the people here how much heritage we have here and culture, they'll want to support it more. Because, like I said, I've been involved. I've been on the museum board. I was recently in 2009 on the Lake County Heritage Commission that is now disbanded because our county would not follow any of the rules and regulations to protect the archaeological sites. And again, Rick Coel, in his department, they don't want to have nothing to do with it, but they'll protect
They're so
the farmers' old
counterproductive.
barns, but they don't want nothing to do with the tribal heritage.
Isn't that a shame?
Yeah.
And it just, why? Because it interrupts progress.
Yes.
They can't build things. They can't destroy land. They can't do all the destructiveness
Right.
that they have wanted to do and want to do with that in place.
Yes.
So
And I think a lot of them, unfortunately, are covering their own conflicts because if you go back and you look at Rick Coel's family land ownership, it's right here in Anderson Marsh.
Oh, really?
He's got a lot of property there. So I think that's the problem I see with a lot of the supervisors. They protect, their family's
own
interests
interests,
like
right.
that.
Of course.
And yet, like I said, to me, there's so much that we could do. I mean, I was even, like I said, back on the casino issue is we still, now every tribe has a right to own run two casinos. So my thing is a way of uniting, like the consortium idea, is why don't all of our tribes in this county join together and open up Canocta Harbor Inn, and that way, look at all the people that came to the venues
Oh,
there.
absolutely.
And that's what we need. We don't have that drawing card again, and the more our lake gets polluted and, we're not doing anything about it, the less people want to come here.
Yeah.
And so to me, now the drought coming up, a good example, and I've kind of advocated this, but again, what people have to know is when the dam came in, most of our Aboriginal shorelines we lost. So in other words, it rose 17 feet.
wow.
So, for example, Rattlesnake Island really was not a permanent island; it was a peninsula.
Oh.
And we walked over to it, and so when the dam came in, the waters just flooded the area. So a lot of people don't know that. And a good example, just over when we had the drought, when the lake was really low, I walked our shoreline and found over 89 arrowheads, perfect condition.
Let me interrupt you for a second.
Wow, that's
How
crazy.
did that dam, and without, this may be a rhetorical question, how did the dam get approved? And the reason I'm asking that is in Phoenix, Arizona, in an area called Fountain Hills, where there's a very nice casino hotel,
Right.
there was going to be built a dam that would be excellent for recreational facilities, et cetera, et cetera. And the Native Americans there, along with many other groups that were against it, stopped the dam from being built because it would have flooded a lot of the Native American land, including their burial grounds.
Yeah.
And
Sacred
it was
land.
absolutely stopped.
But
So-
back when this one was built, they probably didn't have the rights to do that.
Yeah.
Like
Well, how
when you're talking about was the 60s, 70s, 80s. This
Uh,
probably
80s.
happened
Yeah, 80s.
probably back further, even
Yes.
back when there was
and,
less
and there's
rights.
there's a big history of actually our next county, Yolo County, really controlling this, and they're the actual ones who came up and put all that. And matter of fact, most of the first pioneers from Lake County are all from the Woodland area. And they made sure that they bought up the lands, that where the
protect
water is
themselves,
flowing.
right.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a big story of all the farmers who lost land, and it polluted the lake when they did that because all the nutrients that were going into the lake.
You're messing
and,
with Mother Nature.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, see, that's the history that we have to know. And to me, this is our problem with like you mentioned, the generations seem like they're not with it. Is that, see, we haven't practiced what our Native Americans have taught us is that you have to teach the seventh generation. And until you do that, you're not really doing your job. You have a responsibility to be who you are and tell the truth.
Right.
But until you pass that down to the younger generation to carry it on, it's not going to go. It's not going to go
And
forward.
to me,
That is so true.
History is history. I don't care what religion, what ethnicity, whatever you are. I think history is fascinating.
Yeah.
So you putting a lecture series together to go through your specific history, I think is extremely interesting.
Right. Yeah, so
And hopefully
I am
educational.
and I would like to try to work with you guys because I don't really have.
We're
all the
here, man.
technical
That's
skills.
what we're here
Yeah.
for. So we'd love to help you facilitate that. We have room in the next room to have an audience. You can do workshops. You can have all that there. You
Well,
know.
it's funny. My uncle said to me, he goes, "Yeah, you could be the Indian Yule Gibbons. Remember Yule Gibbons? You could go out and talk about the plants and talk about."
Oh my
and I
God,
go,
that'd be
"Gee,"
so
I go,
awesome.
but it's something I've been
Absolutely.
thinking about.
Well,
doing.
we'll love to talk to you more about that.
Okay.
Here's another Earth Day tip. A meatless Monday does more for the planet than driving a Prius all week.
Oh wow!
One day of eating without
Wow.
eating meat. How about
Wow,
that?
that'd be
Okay, so
great.
we're going to take a quick break if you
Okay.
don't mind. I have a little something here lined up from John Trudell.
Oh, okay.
Speaking on the Earth.
All right.
And do you want to stay with us till noon?
I can. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm having a good time. So
right.
we may have one other person pop in, but otherwise we're free for the rest of the hour.
Okay.
So we're going to move on
never
to this tune from John Trudell. It's called Too Much Sky.
Oh wow.
You're on Lake County Magazine with Terry.
Oh, I get to talk to myself and Pete the Tax Guy.
Thank you. See you in a couple of minutes.
The sky is falling. The sky is falling. All is falling. All is falling. Won't stop falling. Won't stop falling. There's too much sky. Too much sky. In a civilized sanity of aggression. War machine on the loose. Jackboots prowling, blooding the earth. Sons and daughters killing. Sons and daughters dying. At the temples of the money kings, the rich turn their backs on the poor. Legends of all men are created equal, and woman never was God's faithful. And earth is a woman dominated, a victim of an abusive relationship. The dimension of too many extremes. Places where dark eats up light. A programming of chaos. The great forgetting. Memories replaced with an amnesia of fear. Where human can't remember the being part of the life. Life, or something like it. The way we feel sometimes. We're the glue holding it together. Or we're the ticking time bomb. Those times of too much to take when we've already taken more than we can. At the temples of the money kings, the rich turn their backs on the poor. Legends of all men are created equal, and woman never was God's faithful. And earth is a woman-dominated, a victim of an abusive relationship. sky is falling. All is falling. All is falling. Won't stop falling. Won't stop falling. There's too much sky. Too much sky. Too much sky. All is falling. All is falling. All is falling. Won't stop falling. Won't stop falling. Won't stop falling. There's too much sky. Too much sky. Too much sky.
You are invited to participate in a true multimedia experience coming to a home near you. LCM TV is bringing Lake County into the new millennium with news, live broadcast, information, music, talk shows, and local programming, all streaming in high definition online and soon to be on your Roku box. Join us at lcm-tv.com or be a part of our studio audience. You can also watch the shows at lakecomagazine.com as we provide programming to inform, enlighten, and maybe even enrage you. On Lake County Magazine Talk Show with Terry and Pete the Tax Guy, Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Like racing? Try the Checkered Flag Show, hosted by Ace Naylor on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. All ages and divisions in regional and national fields. Joni Lane brings a positive light to you every Monday at 3 p.m. Pasha Space brings an international flair as they discuss ecological, health, and social issues in Haiti with people around the world. End up your week with positive, conscious sounds on Saturday at 9 a.m. with Sister T on the Bridge. This show is also simulcast on KMEC 105.1 FM in Ukiah. Our latest show, LCM TV News, is brought to you live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, and rebroadcast at 6:30 p.m. and noon daily, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, featuring national, regional, and local news, weather, and sports. We have it all here for you on your local TV station, LCM TV. Join us online and soon on Roku, giving you access to all the best Lake County has to offer. We are LCMTV.com, your multimedia connection.
SSS Multimedia is sending you smoke signals, providing their clients with the ultimate communication and multimedia marketing, distribution, production, and web-based services. They feature high-def video equipment and quality audio sound. SSS is your multimedia source, from graphics for business cards to television production, radio, live sound, and everything in between. SSS is sending you smoke signals. Get your message out with SSS Multimedia. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@sssmultimedia.com. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Lake County Magazine in our final hour here with Jim Browneagle from Tribal Voices and KPFC. Thank you so much for joining us, Jim. This has been really interesting. And I feel like we're just touching the tip of the iceberg, really.
Well, that's great, though.
Which means you're going to have to be a regular. 'Cause, you just started just barely teaching us the history. So I think we really need to delve deeper each month or whatever you want to do. You know, we can go into more detail as far as the history and such. I think that in itself is very crucial information.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
to understand. You know, they say you can't know where you're going until you know where you've been.
Yes.
You know, so it's really important to know our past and our
Well,
history.
you know what's important again for the public to understand is how long our civilization has been here.
Yes.
And throughout my life, when I first learned about it, was the 1945 discovery at Borax Lake, which actually dated our tribes at 10,000 years.
Wow.
But that was really never promoted out there. It was just something that the anthropologists kept in their records.
Right.
And there's been a few articles about that too as well. But the most important thing is back in 2006 when the US EPA Superfund project began work at Elam, we ended up hiring Dr. John Parker, who again, one of the most excellent
I want to get him on our
websites,
show,
Wolf
too.
Creek. If you can go to that he has so
Yes.
much
Oh,
important
yeah. I
information.
went there the other day. I was
Yes.
so fascinated with all the stuff
Yes,
he's been doing.
And so what he basically did during that time, he did some carbon dating on some spear points and knives that they located on the mainland of where's Elim, which now date us at 22,000 years.
Whoa.
Okay, so look at how long that is. You know,
That's
and yet
crazy.
we have all of this information. Oh no, you guys came through the Bering Straits.
Oh,
You know, all of
yeah.
this
Yeah.
science, so-called science, that's really not true. It's just it was really made up to try to
So-
justify that we weren't here or
Do
something.
your
No.
people have a creation story that is similar? Like the Hopis believe that
Right.
they came up out of the ground, that the
Yes.
first people came out of the ground.
Yeah.
Is yours also have
Yes,
the
matter
same?
of fact, our creation story says we came out of Mount Canacti.
Ah,
And that's why Mount Canacti, again, though it's really our words get changed, and it's Kanakatai, not Canacti.
Kanakatai.
And so, for example, many tribes have sacred birds, and we have many and our real sacred bird is the peregrine falcon, because
that.
in our story, our creation story, it was the falcon who led us out of Mount Canacti.
Oh,
And that's why to this day, actually, there's still a peregrine falcon nest on top of Mount Canacti
Nice.
that we do ceremonies. And matter of fact, a good example, people don't understand the cultural side of it. For example, the last time I was there was in the 1970s, and like 76. And I was there for a rite of passage ceremony where we stayed there and we fasted. And I haven't been up there since. There's no reason for me to be going up there every day, or and see that's what
Right.
people don't understand is the sacredness that we have and the understanding. So, the word Kanakatai is only in our language from this side. All the other tribes, and that's the other thing. Dr. Parker has a PowerPoint presentation where he shows the first tribes recorded here in Lake County, and almost all the tribes on the west side of the lake can't go back more than 3,000 or 4,000 years. Yet our tribe, so many
Oh,
of them.
so you guys are
Yes.
the originals.
Yes, so many of them call us the Mesopotamia, all the civilizations. there.
Nice. Yeah, that's fascinating.
And then, but again, what I had to do is I've had a lot of my issues with the anthropologists and archaeologists. For example, you can see a map where divides us up and shows us where our villages were. But it's funny because, for example, my tribe, according to this map, we didn't go over the hill. We didn't know that was somebody else's territory. And I'm going, wait a minute, we can't live here this long and not go on top of what we call High
hello,
Valley.
right.
And that was, so what a lot of people don't realize is that we had all of these villages that were specific, like gathering acorn villages, sites that families lived, and they controlled that area. They harvested that area for the main tribe. And so that's where our extended families went. Now, a good example, just to break this down, the name Pomo is really a made-up name from Dr. Kroeber, who was the first anthropologist at UC Berkeley. And I actually found notes from him that in 1940 that says that he has to rename these tribes in order to colonize them. And he says, to this day, not one of the traditional tribes will ever accept this. but in 30 or 40 years, they will call themselves Pomos. And
Really?
now, see, Pomo is a site. It's a site, a location. Matter of fact, what happened to all our tribes is we took on the European names for us. Like Robinson Rancheria, it's named after the landowner.
Of course, yeah.
Scotts Valley is named after the Scots. And then our people just think, oh, that's our name, and that's how we have to be associated. None of them know their. So our original name, and I actually found this in my research on the treaties. We were called the Haukuma Nation.
Haukuma. Wow.
And there were 3 villages that were a part of the Haukuma Nation, and that was what they called the Khoi, the Kamdat, and Elam.
Okay, so you and the Khoi were part of the same nation.
Yes.
And then where is the other?
Kamdat is on Buckingham Island, or what they call Anderson Island, right below Canocti.
Okay.
Okay, so for example, in the treaties, what it shows is Chai B, who is actually my great-great-great-grandfather, who signed the treaties. Of course, he put his X, and see, that's the other thing people don't realize is none of us spoke English. None of us, and the only interpreters they had spoke Spanish. None of us spoke Spanish.
Ah, jeez.
So when I actually looked at the treaties for Lake County was all on the West Shore. So in other words, the South Shore was not included. And guess what? Because that's where all the mining was going on. The mining interests made sure that our lands weren't included because they knew already about the mining that was going on this side.
So they didn't want you to have that land.
No. So my thing is, why would our chiefs give up all of their lands and their islands? Now, see, that's the other thing. Those main villages were all on islands. And so there's a book called Pomo Lands on Clear Lake that documents our private land ownership. So everyone, now this is what I tell people about is, when I come in, I should call myself a chief. But other people say, how are you a chief? We got chairmans. We don't have chief. Well, see, that's, again, the colonization mentality that we've accepted. Every one of us come from female and male chiefs. And that book, actually, you can go back and see it, and it gives the name of your property. And what I found out was my grandfather had 3 properties besides the island, which he was the chief. And it went all the way up to High Valley. Now, a good example, the Khoi and the Elam, Burns Valley Creek, which you guys know, that's so the west side of Burns Valley Creek all belonged to Khoi. The east side was the Elam. Okay, and so those, like I said, so those are the records that I found and the information that I have, like in my PowerPoint, and I talk about that. So in our tribe, we had 90 individually tracts of land that were held by family chiefs, and they all belonged to the Elam Nation. But again, together we're the Khoi, Kamdat, and Elam are the Haukuma Nation.
Interesting.
And then what really blew me away was when I found also records that we had land tracts on Bodega Bay.
Really?
And
Oh,
my
wow.
thing was, wait a minute, how do we get, and so I would do
that you would have
research.
the seafood access.
Right. And then
Aye.
it comes back to show that we were the actual group that created the clamshell, the money. And that's where it came from, Bodega Bay, the Washington clam.
Wow.
And it was exported here, and here's where we were making it, sending it out, and that money went all the way up to Washington State. That was used as, so, and then a good example like Anderson Marsh, which is great that, Dr. Parker to help preserve that, but that was like one of the largest trade areas where all the tribes from the nations would come
There's
there and
still
gather.
some sites there,
Yes,
right?
for months at a time. And
Oh,
trade
my.
and barter, and there were even intermarriages going on there.
Huh.
All of this, and see, this is what was going on here. But you really can't find this history nowhere, not even in the state of California. So, like I said, there's just a lot of issues like that we have to address, and then we get really divided up. Like a good example now, we're trying to stop the canonization of Father Junipero Serra.
That's what I wanted
Yes.
to. I heard that yesterday. That is
Yes.
fascinating. Could you give our viewers and listeners a brief overview on
Yeah,
that?
sure. Well, basically,
that's fascinating.
The Pope Francis is trying to canonize him and make him a saint.
Now, explain to people who he was.
Okay, well, basically, he was the main padre that came in with the mission systems here in the state of California. And he pretty much led all of that, and it was all the torture,
The Indian schools
yes,
and all that.
all of that
taking
happened,
people away
and
from
all
their
the tribes were
families.
pretty much enslaved at the missions. And see, and the best, I think, the thing I usually go every year to one of our local schools and do a Native American history, and started with my children because they would complain to me, and so I'd go in and do things for the teachers, and I try to explain to the teachers, now here's something that we'd like to get changed as well. In the state of California, in the 4th grade, it's required for our kids to recreate a mission. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So my thing was, well, you don't understand. These were like death camps.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
us,
You don't
to
want to
Native
glorify
people.
them.
But yet there are historical monuments for the state of California, and nobody would kind of get it until I had to use an analogy. I said, well, look at this. If you were Jewish,
Yeah.
and you were in Germany, and these camps were the death camps where
prison camps, yeah.
the state recognized, would you require your kids to do that? And then they looked at me, oh, now I get it. See, but until I brought
But
up
it's so
a
sad that you
suffering of
had to
someone
take it
else,
into those
ours
terms.
didn't matter. So
It's so sad.
But still, to this day, it's still the law.
Yeah.
And what some teachers, though, who now have done is said, all right, why don't your kids build a roundhouse?
There
And they've
you
been
go.
doing that.
That's
Some of
fantastic.
them were allowed to do that. And
Right.
so, see, we're slowly changing it. But the public, again, has to be aware of these kinds of issues that we've confronted almost all our life. And it's hard when, people don't know ourselves, and then we give up on it and go on to something else. So, so anyway, that's basically what's happening is they're trying to make Father Sarah a saint. And then, of course, the Pope is planning to announce this in New York in September, not in California, because I read a letter from one of the chairpersons, who was a great letter on our program last night, about why we oppose it. And so there's actually a petition you can go to on moveon.org to sign that. So far, we have 5,500 signatures.
Great.
And I actually got about 7 emails when I got home from listeners who said, I'm going to the petition, and I'm going to tell my children who are in college
great.
and all over, and I'm going to try to get them to sign this. So those are the kinds of things that we're trying to change. And
Just shameful in this day and age. We're still fighting these battles.
Yes.
It's
So
just a shame.
So that's, like I said, those are the kinds of things that I've been involved with most of my life. But again, what I want to say, like I said about my hat, is what I'm just gearing up for is this is a sacred time for Native people, because this is when our ceremonies start. See, for us in April is really when our plants come out. And so all the roundhouses that have survived. Now, here's an example. Our nation comprised of what we call now Napa, Sonoma, Mendocino, Lake, and Yolo counties. That was our nation. That's why they had to divide us up. And right now there are only 17 federally recognized Pomo tribes in 3 counties, Sonoma, Mendocino, and Lake County. And in Lake County we have 7 tribes. But yet there are other tribes who are not federally recognized. A good example, my wife's tribe, which is called Yokeo, are to me one of the first, true sovereign tribes, because they still had what they called their lifetime leaders.
And they're up in the Ukiah area?
Yes. And see, again, there, Yokeo was the name of Ukiah.
Right.
Not Yokiah,
Right.
which again,
Right.
see, that's what happens. The names get cut in half.
They bastardize
Yes,
them.
yes. And so again, matter of fact, my wife's here. She's out there listening. So I'm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, she's
And-
here? She
yes.
came? Hi,
Yeah.
Gail.
So anyway, but so she knows the history of her tribe as well, and that was taught to her by her mom and her aunts and all of that. So that's what we try to, like over there again. There are these large Mexican land grants. So after the Guadalupe Hidalgo Treaty, which was the Mexican-American War, what basically the treaty said was that no Indians can be moved from the lands that they are living on.
Huh.
Okay, so there are many non-Indians who came in and claimed those Mexican land grants. And what did they do once they were signed? They forced off the Indian people from their lands because of those natural resources that were there. So over in Ukiah, that was the Yokeo land grant.
Gotcha.
And again, the Hastings was behind it. And so you had all of these people out of San Francisco, the judges and everything that were involved in all these land. Now, when we did some background here, a good example, a lot of people don't know this, but the first person who patented all the land in his name from Canocti all of this side down to Yolo County was a guy named Billings with the railroad. They were trying to put a railroad into Lake County. And see, because they wanted the railroads to take all the mercury in the mine and get them out.
Right.
But because they said, I guess the ground wasn't good enough here, or
The access is
yes,
bad, yeah.
They kind of forget about that. But he actually had the first patent on all the lands. So that's what was going on. But yet, see, this was a part of the Lopioma Mexican land grant, the whole Lake County. And so that meant every tribe in that land grant could not have been moved. Their lands could not have been taken from them. But it was, again, done.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
I hate to do this, but we're going to have to move on. We have
Okay.
a live news show that starts at 12 o'clock.
All right.
So we're
Yeah.
going to take a musical break and
Okay.
run a couple of commercials while we get set up for that.
All right.
But I want to thank you so much for coming in
All
and
right.
invite you and Gail to come back and join us again
Okay.
and share some more of this fascinating history.
Thank you.
How do you feel about the name Redskin now being taken off the book? Isn't that
well,
wonderful?
It's finally, it's about time.
Jeez,
That's
it's like,
happening. but-
how long have we been asking for this?
Yes,
Since at least
yes.
the 60s, right?
Yeah, at least,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Yeah.
thank God for that. There is a little bit of progress going on.
Well, that's why to me, the last thing I like to say is I really, really thank the Kelseyville School Board,
Yes.
who basically had courage enough to take the name Indians off of their mascot. And they
Fantastic.
did that.
Now, if we
Yeah.
can just get them to remove the name Kelsey.
Yes. Okay, thank you guys, and I look forward to
Okay,
working.
Thank
Jim.
you so
Thank
much,
you
Jim.
so
All right.
much.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye. All right, that does it for us. Here's a little Clan Dyken for you. And this one is called Can't Breathe.
Can't breathe.
Have a great Earth Day and keep your air clean and keep your life clean. We love you. We miss you. Till next week. And we'll see you then.
And stay tuned for LCM TV,
TV News with Peter Schiffman.
Gloria's on parade. Miss America smiles and waves. She looks so pretty when she smiles that way, but she can't breathe. Shiny new cars and bright new clothes, gleaming in the sun like a plastic rose. Thrown on her body as the coffin closes. We can't breathe. All the young men look so hip, dancing with the ladies as they shake their hips. Toast to the future and they all take a sip, but they can't breathe. Beautiful baby on his mother's breast, looks like an angel when he takes his rest. Dad wants him to grow up and do his best, but he can't breathe. Can't breathe.
Jesus will take you away.
Can't breathe.
Get on your knees and pray.
Can't
He'll have only the dead to save if we can't
breathe. Flags are flapping in the funky breeze. Take what you want, do what you please. Pick your teeth with the bones of the feast, but you can't breathe. All that money, all that fame, all that power in the family name. Winning and losing is the same when you can't breathe. Clocks are ticking and the grains of sand are slipping through the human hands. What good are all your plans if you can't breathe? What good is all the hate? What good is all the love? What good are all these thoughts if we can't breathe? Can't breathe.
Jesus will take you away.
Can't breathe.
If you get on your knees and pray,
Can't
but he'll have only the
directions and we got no map. We can't breathe. It doesn't matter if you don't like me, whether you're a slave or if you're free. If you believe in